Welcome back to Uptown Charlotte and Truist Field here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Chris Lehman, Nick Perazzi with you as we get set for the second matchup here at Truist Field, the NC State Ice Pack and the South Carolina Gamecocks. NC State coming off of a 1-1 weekend with a win over Maryland and a loss to George Mason, and a chance to bounce back here tonight, Nick.
Yeah, a chance to bounce back. NC State, after that October skid, they've won 4 of their last 5. Of course, losing that last game 7-3 against George Mason. Looked good though against Maryland, a 5-3 win up there in College Park. This team's starting to found its kind of just strengths and weaknesses once again after that October skid.
Well, as you look back at the matchup here tonight, this is the second time they've met so far this season. It was a feisty one up in Morrisville, North Carolina at Invisalign Arena. NC State took a comfortable lead into the third period, but they let South Carolina back into it. I expect a pretty good game here tonight.
Yeah, the Ice Pack were up 4-1 headed into that third. And then the penalties happened in the second period. 2 more happened in the third. Gamecocks were able to cut it down to 4-3 with about 10 minutes left, but NC State able to hang on with some good play from Isaac Toyer and net back in September. But that game, NC State took 11 penalties. South Carolina just took 2. And you don't want a repeat of what we saw last night between Charlotte and App, where we had 16 penalties in the third period alone.
Yeah, well, when you talk about discipline, that is the big theme for this NC State team, still is through this point in the season. I was able to get over to practice at Invisalign Arena on Thursday, talk a little bit with the coaching staff, but the one thing that stuck out, discipline, discipline, discipline. That was a big problem for NC State. They were in a tight game with George Mason last weekend, and it was penalties that came back to bite them in the third period in what ended up looking like a bad loss. When you look at the score, it was really a much closer game than that, but it's all about staying out of the penalty box.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed during Inside Edge that NC State posts on their YouTube, PackTV, beautiful production that they do. Shout out to the guys that do it. After that weekend, the Stephen Russell tournament in Raleigh, they went 2-1. Excuse me, they went 1-2. They lost 2 games that weekend. And one thing after that last loss against Louisville in overtime, Tim Healy said, did they have any plays that made you say, oh, wow? He used a different word to describe it. I can't say it on air, and I don't plan on using that word. But he said, did they make any plays that made you say, wow, that's a heck of a goal right there? He said, no. We lost all these games. All the games we lost previously have been because of our mistakes and our discipline. Yep. We have to change that because this team has been better than what the record shows, and I've said it all season. We haven't seen the best NC State team that I think they could put out on the ice. It'll be interesting to see if that's the case tonight.
Well, and I think this is an interesting atmosphere to test that discipline if you're NC State. It's a very different venue. It's an exciting venue, a big one at that as well, one of the biggest crowds NC State will play in front of this year. And on top of that, it's a team that you've got some history with this year, and a team that you've gotten a little chippy with as well.
Yeah, and NC State, they have some guys that played outside at Carter Finley, Frozen Finley, where they picked up a 7-3 win 2 years ago against UNC. But they had over 30,000 people showed up, expecting a sellout crowd of 7,000 tonight. And if the noise is like what we saw last night between the Mountaineers and 49ers, it's going to be another rowdy time tonight here in the Truist Field Bank.
Well, we're going to have a great time here at Truist Field tonight. We'll step aside for a moment. We'll be back to preview the matchup between NC State and South Carolina. Well, the Gamecocks are on the ice. NC State will be there here very shortly. Chris Lehman, Nick Perazzi with you here at Truist Field, part of the College Hockey Series here at Truist Field. NC State and South Carolina just about set to get going. We're going to take a little bit of a look now at the Gamecocks. This is a talented team. They haven't had a lot of ACHA action. They're straddling AAU and ACHA play this year. They will be a part of NC State's conference next year. It's going to be a really interesting matchup throughout the future, and we've seen what they can do against NC State.
Yeah, a 4-3 loss last time up there in Invisalign Arena in Raleigh. I thought the Gamecocks played very well. I think in the future, these teams are going to meet up a lot since they're going to be in the same conference next year in D1. I think this is going to be a classic rivalry that's going to brew because of how close these two teams are, how close the first game we saw, as well as just the fan standpoint as well. We're expecting a sellout crowd. If I'm not mistaken, this is South Carolina's first outdoor game, but turning more into a look at the Gamecocks. They played a game last night. They were down in Columbia, lost 5-4 against Tennessee. They were winning for most of the game, up 4-3, and then Tennessee struck twice. But two names to look out for: Jake Pushkar, John Riggins. Both scored both scored 2 goals last night against Tennessee back in Raleigh. 2 goals scored from Riggins, 1 from Pushkar. Those are your go-to guys for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, and it's going to be a physical game. That's really the thing that I want to highlight. We talked about the penalties. We saw a lot of physicality last night. We saw a player into the bench early on in the game. So we expect it to be physical. We expect it to be fun, and it should be a great one tonight. The lights are off. NC State getting ready to take to the ice here at Truist Field. We're going to step aside one more time. When we come back, we'll have the Perazzi points, and we'll be set for puck drop between NC State and South Carolina. NC State, South Carolina down on the ice now. We'll be back with puck drop next.
My name is Zach Herman. I'm the captain of the NC State Ice Pack, and I was born and raised in the Raleigh area. We are a self-funded program doing our best to represent our university and the local hockey community in Raleigh on a national level.
My name is Alex James, and I'm a senior assistant captain from Lake Norman, North Carolina. The group you're watching out on the ice is a family, and that family does its best to represent you and the rest of the NC State community as best we can each and every day. Some of my top memories from this program include playing in front of over 20,000 NC State fans at Carter Finley, playing in front of over 10,000 NC State fans at Lenovo Center every year, and getting to play in front of a packed house every Friday night at Invisalign Arena.
We welcome and appreciate all your support along the way. Go Pack!
From the top of D.H. Hill Library.
Don Diablo.
Oh yeah, this is actually like in my studio.
WKNC HD3 Raleigh.
Hey, what's up and what's going on, folks? It's Kid Kinetic, your boy, up here at the top of the hour. And guess what I got? A treat that's too sweet to beat.
This is Wolf Bites Radio.
Oh, that's really sweet.
NC State.
At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
Locally owned and operated by
Welcome back to Truist Field. Chris Lehman, Nick Perazzi with you, just about set to get things rolling between NC State and South Carolina. And as the two teams take to the ice, Nick, I'll turn it over to you for our Perazzi points.
Yeah, I'm going to make these very quick, very simple. Baseball theme tonight here at Truist Field. First off, don't empty the bullpens. Stay disciplined on both sides. Mainly NC State, who took 11 penalties last time these two teams met. Second, Silver Sluggers, bring the physicality, set the tone. And third, bring them home, limit mistakes, because App State last night lost that game because of their mistakes.
Well, we're set to go. NC State in black will move right to left across your screen. In white, South Carolina moving left to right. Should be a fantastic one here tonight in Uptown Charlotte. We're ready to rock and roll, and it's the Gamecocks winning the opening draw. They'll work it back at the defense. Spun over to the far side. Taken off the wall by Alex James for NC State. Sent right back to him. He'll chase it down in the NC State zone. Couple of Gamecocks down in there. Pineda putting pressure on James. Worked back behind. Hops the stick of Pushkar. NC State looks to break it up and out. Can't connect on the breakout pass though. And they'll have to reset in their own end with a delayed offside for South Carolina. 30 seconds gone here early. Herman loses it in his skates at the blue line momentarily before sweeping it deep. No battle for it there in the skates of the NC State captain. Kicked over to the wall. It's Daniel Prasma who can't control. He'll knock down a clearance. The second attempt gets out. And NC State back in control at the defense. It's Lapani. Forward for Prasma. He'll chip it along. It'll be swatted right back out by Bonsukin. Two teams just kind of playing ping pong right now. Nobody really getting a sustained control. Shook bodied up below the goal line, able to get back up and take the puck though. Finds Kaufman below the goal line now. He'll button hook with it. Backhands it up top for Weglers. D to D for Lapani. He'll tee one up and it's blocked on the way in. South Carolina had numbers in front. Lapani gloves down the clearance. Stopped up at the blue line. South Carolina takes over. That's Nick Kay, who throws it off the glass, but not out. NC State looking to take advantage of the turnover, but it's intercepted, and now an odd man rush brewing for South Carolina. Pass to the middle, finds Bonsukin. His shot ends up wide of the goal. First good chance there for the Gamecocks. Really fluid play here early as Addison Lawrence swallows up the backhand try from the high slot. And we get our first stoppage a little under 2 minutes in.
Chris, one thing we didn't talk about during pregame that we had to talk about a lot last night was the ice conditions. Much better ice conditions tonight, a lot more frozen, no cracks, hopefully no holes that occur during the gameplay. But one thing to note, and you can see it kind of on our broadcast, it's very hard to see the blue lines, the face-off circles, all the paint underneath the ice. it's kind of faded away. We went down there pregame. There's something that says Circle K Ice Rink. We didn't even see that last night.
Well, NC State getting pinned in their own end after winning the draw. Over to the far side. Trouble receiving it for Brooks Willoughby. Ray able to pool cue it along. Finds Strong in the middle. He's quickly dispossessed, though, by Brendan Flaherty. And now South Carolina can move it back up ice. Breakout pass off the mark. Ricochets in the neutral zone. Picked up by the Gamecocks. Feeding his way through there, Flaherty. Back below the goal line, he'll work with it. Fires one from a bad angle that's fought off by Lawrence. Back out in front off the goaltender's pads, and NC State collects. 2-on-2, moving back the other way. Strong trying to create some space there for his teammate in Gifford, but Gifford is pickpocketed. It's turned back up by Connor Berman, who gains the red line and shoots it in. Now below the goal line, Loken tracing the boards. Sends it back up top. The shot ends up wide of Lawrence. Work back up the far wall. Pinching in. Marvin holds the zone for the Gamecocks. NC State with another attempt at breaking out a little more space now. It's off the stick of Govea. And that will be, or pardon me, Emery Oliver. It's in on goal, and Tyler Tamoyan, who's in net tonight, will hold on to it as Oliver comes in quickly.
Yeah, one thing to note, about 3 minutes down, South Carolina's dominated possession time. They can't really generate anything offensively, nothing good in terms of shots. NC State, though, looking for those odd man rushes, haven't been able to get that yet.
A battle off the face-off. South Carolina able to force it out of the zone. NC State has it at their own blue line. Weglars will back it up. Or pardon me, Ricky Frosch. Now a stretch pass, unable to be corralled by Robinson. They'll get it back from Frosch, though, at the red line. Feeds it forward. McEnany tracks it down in the corner. He'll turn with it. Works it back up the wall. Lapani at the blue line holds it in. Down low now, working with it. Herman walks out in front, throws it off the side of the goal. Robinson there to help out with the rebound. Backhands it up top. Weglar's shot is blocked. Loose puck collected by the captain, Herman. Back up for Weglar's. His shot whistles wide of the goal. South Carolina under some pressure here. It'll be hacked out of the zone by Andrew Henderson. Now Lapani. Stretch pass, misses everybody. This will be icing, and we'll get a stoppage with 16:01 left in the period.
Well, NC State's going to get the first offensive onslaught of the game, just letting it rip on goal on Tamoyan. And I think Weglars was actually trying to get off for a line change, a different D pair, once it goes back behind the net, but it squirts back up to him at the point, and he has to come get it as he takes a shot earlier in that possession. But because of that, it creates a new offensive opportunity for NC State. They ice it down, and now South Carolina with a chance.
Shot stopped off the face-off by Addison Lawrence. Gamecocks going to put some pressure on in the O-zone here. Down in that near corner, it'll be pitched out of the zone. Settled down by Flaherty. He'll move it across for Riccatelli. And NC State steals the pass up ice. Lapani puts it off the stick of Prasma and deep, so no icing call here, but South Carolina going to shoot it back up the ice. At his own blue line, Lapani now. Throws it right back in on goal. Tamoyan had some trouble handling it. NC State almost had a juicy rebound in front. Now Prasma will hand it off. That's Tate Sodden moving it in. Takes a weird carom off the glass, pops up behind the goal. That'll give NC State some time to get in on the forecheck. Here's Prasma across for Herman. Turnaround shot. Big save by Tamoyan. He makes another save in tight on Herman. And now South Carolina has an odd man rush. Oh, but it's on and off the stick. Well, I believe that was Bonsuk in there. Actually, it was Pineda. But another couple of good chances here from NC State, and it was their captain, Herman, with the tries here.
Yeah, watch Herman on the replay. There's no one on that side of the ice for South Carolina. If he's a right-handed player there, he's got an easy one-timer to try to make this 1-0, but because he had to spin around, allowed Tamoyan to get into position.
NC State controls off the draw. They'll shoot it up ice. South Carolina has it at the defense. Move forward by List. Thrown off the glass by Sodden. That one might have caught an awkward stanchion and popped out into the middle of the ice. NC State still in control. They're going to come in off sides, and that will stop play. A little bit of trouble there for Reese Johnson crossing the blue line.
And this is a good opportunity for South Carolina just to catch their breath. I think right now the Gamecocks need to get this draw and just control it. Past couple minutes, they haven't been able to control it. They've been on their heels a little bit. They need to start getting something going in the neutral zone because NC State's forecheck is causing mistakes just like that.
Ice Pack move back forward. Shook down the right wing. Bodied up, able to absorb the contact though. having some trouble in the corner as he's pinned there. Some help from Kaufman. The Ice Pack unable to come away with it. Good transition here for South Carolina, moving back up, and they're going to come in offside. That one really going to be on Ronan Mulcairn, who slowed up coming into the zone.
Oh, for the Gamecocks, that's your first chance in a couple minutes to really establish something in the NC State defensive zone, and you're offsides. You're going to have to win this draw, set it back up again. I think South Carolina's on the verge of having a breakout into the zone, but they just have to keep possession.
Pardon me, that was Colin Reed entering the zone with the puck a little bit late. Some hesitation there leading to the offside. South Carolina going to set up anyhow. Shot from the point, doesn't get through traffic. Ends up in front of Lawrence, and he's going to pounce on the loose puck. Smart play by the NC State netminder to freeze that one.
Well, if I recall the last time these two teams played, it was Isaac Toyer in net, but I believe they caused a lot of chaos later in that game against Toyer, and that's where South Carolina had a lot of their success, just creating chaos right there, just a rogue puck skating in there on Addison Lawrence. But I believe, South Carolina could create some chaos. You've seen Lawrence struggle with that this season. I think that could be their recipe for success tonight.
A broken stick on the shot from the point. NC State still unable to clear, though, as South Carolina able to get back to full strength. Shot from the far side. Charging in there was Marvin off the bench after the broken stick for Flaherty. South Carolina starting to get some action down at this end. We saw a total of 6 goals last night, but all of them came at one end of the rink, and it was the end NC State is shooting at currently. As a shot off a skate or a stick ricochets off the glass out in front, sealed off by Lawrence on that far post. But it's still South Carolina in control. Carson Scove moves it back up top. Von Suken walks the line. Back to Scove. Shot. They score on the rebound. Lawrence got knocked around in the crease. I think he's complaining about it. But it's going to be 1-0 Gamecocks about 6 minutes in.
And I believe it's John Riggins once again. Can't really tell from up here. But it's just loose in front, a lot of chaos. And then just there on the cleanup to put it home, give the Gamecocks a 1-0 lead. Just trying to see who it was for South Carolina. Kind of bunched up those numbers.
Looks like it was John Riggins.
It was Riggins, who had 2 last time these two teams played. He had 2 last night, and he keeps his hot streak going. And just like that first matchup at Invisalign, South Carolina strikes first.
We'll see how NC State responds. 13:24, the time left in the first period when that goal was scored. NC State back the other way. Quick shot, they score! Tie game. It took 22 seconds.
So much for that for the Gamecocks. Just coming the other way, it's going to be number 9, Thomas McEnany, who gets the goal. They switched numbers last year, that's on me. But how about that for NC State? Down and out early, it seems like, down 1-0 after NC State had a good start, and then just coming the other way. It's going to be all the way led by Emery Oliver, across for McEnany, and a good goal to make it 1-1 just like that.
Well, good response from NC State. And it took 6.5 minutes to get the first goal. It only took 22 seconds to get the next one. NC State in their own end. Lapani feeds it up the wall. He's got Aiden Brenner there. Back to the middle. Plenty of space for Weglars through the neutral zone. He'll gain the blue line, glides in with it, and steps around a hit in that near corner. Steps past another one, but can't take the puck with him. And the Gamecocks lift it out to neutral ice. Puck squirts out towards center ice. It'll be walked in by Finelli. His shot off a skate and wide. Now to be taken behind the net by Sodden. Played out for Prasma. Backhands it up the wall. Nobody there but Dunphy. And the South Carolina defenseman keeps the zone. He'll pitch it around the glass. Weglars behind the goal. Feeds it forward now for Finch. NC State clears the zone but can't control. Deflected back in now by Josh Wilkins. Tate Sodden first there for NC State. Slaps it up the wall and all the way down. This should be icing on the ice pack. And we'll get a stoppage with 11:52 left in the first.
Well, how will South Carolina respond now? NC State immediately respond. How will the Gamecocks respond? This is their opportunity. Win this draw and get Addison Lawrence uncomfortable. Get to him early and get into his head. And that could be a success for the Gamecocks tonight. We've seen Lawrence, though, first 2 periods, he's been rock solid this season. It's that 3rd period where he tends to struggle, and it's really more on his defense than him.
Quick shot off the draw, scrambling in front. Not sure if Lawrence had to make a save or not. but a good chance there for South Carolina, advancing right off the offensive faceoff. Along that far wall, played back behind. Wegler's first there for NC State. Looking for the breakout pass with Finch, can't connect. South Carolina back in possession, working with it Pineda. Up to the blue line. Shot coming there from Mulcairn off a stick, and it floats back below the goal line. NC State has control. Some space now for Prasma. He'll gain speed. Herman with him as they cross the red line and now the blue line. Walking through his man. Prasma feeds it out in front. It's off the pad of Tamoyan, and it will be taken back out by South Carolina. This one sent the length of the ice, but they're going to wave off icing, and NC State will be forced to play. Nobody on this far side. That will allow the Gamecocks to come in and pin it to the wall.
Yeah, Nick Shook had a great opportunity, just picked that puck up. For some reason, he just skated away from it, allows the Gamecocks to get possession.
Worked behind the goal. Prasma working hard on Nick Kay, knocks it loose. Floated out by Prasma, but held in at the blue line by South Carolina's defense. I believe that was Flaherty at the line. And still, NC State struggling to break out. Held in at the blue line again. Shot gets caught up in traffic. Flaherty gets a couple of hacks at it, but can't put it on goal. A Gamecock upended along the wall as Nick Shook throws it off the glass and out. NC State needs some fresh legs.
Yeah, those legs are out there from that icing call right before it as well. So a very long shift for those first liners of NC State. Really Daniel Prasma out there while Shook on that second line. They're going to have that second line out there with Kaufman and Strong.
Behind the goal, Alex James has it. He'll look up the wall, off the glass, bodied down by Flaherty. And defenseman's done a great job of holding the line so far for the Gamecocks. Second effort gets out into neutral ice. Shook sweeping it to the middle through the skates of Reese Johnson. And the Gamecocks back in control. Stretch pass through the neutral zone doesn't find its mark. Shook tracks down the loose puck for NC State. Now Johnson. Looking rink wide, it's off the stick of Shook, who tracks it down off the bench wall. Throws it on goal, rebound in the slot. He can't get the second try on net. And now South Carolina has numbers back the other way. Down the left wing, now cutting to the middle, it's Kay. Into the slot, takes the shot as he's hauled down, and play will continue. Gamecocks have had a lot of ozone time here in this first period. Still with it. Work back to Marvin, across, one-timer and a save made by Lawrence. Set up well, but not the best angle there for the shot. I believe that was Marcella who had the chance, and Lawrence makes a nice save.
Yeah, it's a beautiful setup to the weak side. That one-timer, you got to have a better angle. It was wide open. Lawrence, if you put that more towards the post, it's 2-1, but it was not put towards the post. It's put more towards the center of the net, and you're right, Chris. Just the angle was just not there on that shot.
Off the draw, loose, collected by South Carolina's Loken. Backhand try, fought off by Lawrence. And they'll fight for it now in the corner. Gifford, skate to stick. Feeds it up through the middle. Some speed now for NC State coming in. Thrown around the wall there by Brooks Willoughby Ray. Pinching in Lapani, forces it back down low. Now it's Strong. Finds Willoughby Ray, who works with it along the wall. Button hooks with it. Looking for some space. Willoughby Ray tied up. Puck is loose. South Carolina takes it, and they'll move it up and out. Some trouble there, though, for Berman. Fed to the middle, off the stick of Lawrence, and across to the wall. South Carolina sets up with possession here in the offensive zone once again. They'll work with it in the corner. Backhanded around the wall, intended for Finelli, but he couldn't get there, and it'll be chipped up and past the red line. Braden Strong with some pressure on Andrew Henderson. He'll give his teammates some time to change. Emery Oliver stepping in, steals it away. NC State quickly back into the offensive end. Pass to the middle, misses everybody, and it'll be collected by Garrett Albers and moved down.
NC State just caught making a line change there with the D pair. That's why South Carolina regained possession.
Here comes Strong. Absorbs a hit as he throws it deep. Gained the red line, so no icing. Down under 8 minutes left in this first period. About 6.5 minutes in, South Carolina opened the scoring. 22 seconds later, NC State evened it back up. Here's a chance for the Gamecocks. Centering pass. Slides harmlessly through the low slot and over into the corner. Brenner pins it to the wall for the Pack, but it's South Carolina coming away with possession. Back up to the blue line. Riccatelli's shot stopped there by Lawrence, who got a blocker to it. And they'll fight for it in the far corner now. Slapped back behind the goal. Andrew Thronson first there. Moves it along for Sodden. Plenty of time and space. Looking to stretch it out. Trying to connect there with McEnany. And it was stolen away by the South Carolina defense. They'll turn it right back over, though. McEnany now at the blue line, turns and spins it deep. Some help there coming in. Thrown to the middle, intended for Brenner, but off the mark on the pass from Zach Herman. Turnover down below the goal line. Shot coming. Lawrence makes the save on Nick Kay. NC State gets a little bit lucky there that South Carolina didn't have more in terms of numbers.
And that's what head coach of the Icepack, Tim Healy, has been stressing to his team. Mistakes are the reason why we have a couple losses this year on the docket. Right there, Alex James either has to play with that puck or button hook towards the boards to keep possession of it and not let South Carolina get a good opportunity like they did in front of Lawrence.
Pitchforked all the way down the ice by James. It'll be frozen as well by Tamoyan. Now NC State with the offensive zone faceoff, and I think you can let James off the hook a little bit there on that one. If you looked at the replay, the puck's bouncing around a little bit. We're getting late into the period, so we've talked about how well they've done with the ice and how they've gotten it in playing condition. Yeah, it still gets a little choppy, especially at the end of periods, and it looked like it just kind of hopped on James. Prasma with a quick shot, ends up on the side of the goal. Finch's try, patted away by Tamoyan. Good pressure here from NC State. Now Herman backhands it down low. Prasma looking out front. That pass intercepted, and it'll be cleared out by South Carolina. James slows it up at the red line. Finds Herman, who gets it caught up in his skates. James again. He'll just skate it forward this time. Steps into the high slot, and a shot blocked by the skates of Ronan Mokaran. Battle ensues in the corner near side. Squirts out in front. Quick shot. Fought off there by the stick of Tamoyan. Prasma's turnaround shot from the boards doesn't get to the net. He'll find the loose puck anyhow. Turning with it, Daniel Prasma up for James. Tees one up, didn't get to the net. Prasma again along the sidewall. Sends it up to the blue line. James holds it in. His pitchfork dump in is blocked down. And now South Carolina will clear it out. Settled nicely by Pineda. Pins it in the corner as he waits for reinforcements. 5.5 minutes left in the period. You get a look up close at the puck stuck there along the wall. It'll finally be jarred loose. NC State comes away with it. Finch plays it around the glass. It ricochets out in front, and NC State can't clear as this one is deflected out of play, and the faceoff should stay in NC State's end.
Chris, one thing to note, from about 12 minutes left in the period till 7, the story of the game was South Carolina offensive prowess. I mean, they have just been dominating in terms of just getting space, able to move the puck around with ease on NC State's defensive end. The question for really the rest of this period is going to be, can NC State respond to that? Can they get something going offensively? Because South Carolina's dominated the ozone time in tonight's game.
Off the draw, NC State able to win it. Lapani throws it off the wall and out. Nick Shook chasing after it, but the South Carolina defense there first. Kaufman will shoot it back in. Behind the goal, Flaherty. He'll wait to set up the breakout. Elevates it to the near side. A little bit too strong, though. NC State takes over. Kaufman lays it out there for Shook. Backhand try, just wide. Thrown off the goaltender Tamoyan by Reese Johnson, and they're scrambling around in the crease. NC State needs to get one on goal. Lapani's shot stopped by the pad of Tamoyan, who finally got back in position, and the Gamecocks able to alleviate pressure. Great chance there for NC State. They just couldn't get it up above the goal line.
Holden Kaufman was right there looking for an easy just chance to get it down. It's a big collision, and the Cocks come the other way now.
Kaufman knocked down there. Bonsukin lugs it into the zone and is dispossessed. Stopping on a dime, Reese Johnson's pass deflected backwards. Now Lapani will play it off the boards and deep as NC State gets some fresh bodies on the ice. 4:15 left in the first. 2 quick strikes. About halfway through the period is the shot gloved by Tamoyan and held on to. But not much outside of that. And again, as you mentioned, Nick, it's been South Carolina with a lot of the possession in their offensive end.
It has, but right here for NC State, they get Tamoyan off, they get him scrambling. He doesn't know where the puck is behind the net. And I think Reese Johnson just finding Holden Kaufman. There's no one there. Simple pass. Kaufman more than likely is able to get elevation, get it past Tamoyan to make it 2-1. Big missed opportunity for NC State.
South Carolina continuing to have a bit of an advantage in the faceoff circle. Unable to clear off the faceoff win, though. Tommy Marvin moving it out now. He'll play it forward to Berman, and the Gamecocks are offsides.
And we get our first chant battle of the game in terms of the fans. Started with the Gamecocks chant, now a pretty strong Wolfpack chant. I will give the Gamecocks some leeway. They are still in a football game down there in Columbia right now, so not quite a full force of Gamecock fans here tonight, but a respectable crowd from South Carolina.
Face off on top of the NC State blue line. Gamecocks tried to win it forward there with Marcella, but NC State able to control. Moving in quickly, and we're going to get our first power play of the game. It should be a slash, as it was Brooks Willoughby Ray with the chance that was denied. Shot from Sodden is blocked, and now South Carolina will touch up with 3:51 to go. And our first power play goes to the Ice Pack.
Oh, it's just a scrum, and then just splitting through the defense. I believe that's actually Braden Strong going to Willoughby Ray. He had a clear chance, and then right there, you're right, Chris, it's going to be a 2-minute slash, and now NC State will have a chance to set up that offense. In terms of the power play, it's a red-hot power play this season. They're very dangerous. What can they do on it?
NC State wins the face-off to start the power play. Nick Shook playing with it there, up top with Thronson. Thronson shot through traffic, doesn't get to the net. Chance here to clear for the Gamecock penalty kill, and they can't. Now Prasma has it hop his stick down into the corner. He'll chase after it. First one there, though, is Tommy Marvin. He'll be worked to the ice there by NC State's Willoughby Ray. Prasma trying to force his way out in front, denied. He'll maintain control. Move back to Shook. Over for Thronson in the middle for Johnson. Back across Prasma. 2 tries, can't get it to go. Now he throws it off the side of the goal. Another couple good chances for NC State, and they can't put it home. Back up top now, Thronson. He'll work it down low, Prasma. Looking to the middle, that pass denied, and South Carolina will ring it around the wall and out.
Those are a couple back-to-back big saves from Tamoy and 10 Bellers. Just getting a piece on that puck. Had his defense coming in behind him in case there was a third. He's had 2 now scramble opportunities. He's been up to the task on both of them.
Halfway through the man advantage for NC State. Here's Shook. Looking things over, feeds it to the middle, directed just wide by Kaufman. He'll chase it down and battle with Aiden Dunphy in that near corner. You get a look up close as they pin it to the wall, just killing clock here for the Gamecocks. Still stuck along the wall. NC State finally forces it out. Working with it, Prasma. Throws it off the side of the goal again, trying to center it. They'll move along to the far wall now. Shook receives it up top. Dusts it off, sweeps it across now to Thronson. Down to about 20 seconds of power play time for NC State here. Had some good chances, but they haven't been able to strike yet. Rebound loose in front, Tamoyan on top of it. Smart shot there from Shook, just trying to test the goaltender. And we're down to about 14 seconds of power play time.
Yeah, and one thing to note, you don't see the power play time on your screens because here in Truist Field, they don't have that on the board right now. That's where we get our feed run for the time and penalties. They don't know, and so right now South Carolina's penalty box asking, hey, what time do we come out of the box? When are we coming out? And it's going to be with 1:51 left, so about 20 seconds left on this NC State power play.
NC State wins the draw, but will do it again.
Well, they're not stopping the clock now. It keeps ticking.
They're going to have to reset it. It needs an extra 6 seconds added back on.
We had clock problems last night. App State had about an extra 15, 20 seconds to a power play last night towards the end of last night's game. So a bit of an issue. Hopefully they get sorted out as the game goes on.
So an offensive zone draw here for the Pack. It'll be Emory Oliver to take it for NC State. I think they're just waiting here to get the clock reset. Still sitting at 1:59 on our feed.
Well, in the meantime, got to shout out the Frigid Sound. You know, they had a basketball game last night, and they're here tonight all the way down in Charlotte performing for the Ice Pack. They've been here a lot already this year with the Dukes Mayo Classic against Tennessee's. Now they're issuing to both coaches what they're doing about the clock. And it looks like in the final couple seconds of this power play is set to be underway.
On off the draw, tied up. Robinson can't get the shot away. Cleared up and out now, and looks like they just paused the clock until they hit the right time. That will do it for the man advantage for NC State. Back onto the ice is Thomas Loken, the guilty party on that slash. And we're back to full-strength hockey. 1:45 to go in the first in a 1-1 hockey game. Behind the goal. First one to it is NC State's Emory Oliver as he beats Mulcairn there. Mulcairn able to knock it loose. NC State back to it with Robinson. He'll float one towards the goal. Bounces wide and back behind the goal. Mulcairn again. Bodied up there by Robinson, who knocks the puck loose. South Carolina keeps control. Skated out now. moved across to the near side. Bouncing puck settled down, moved along for John Riggins, who picked up the only goal so far for the Gamecocks. NC State turns it back the other way. Some speed for Zach Herman. Walks it down the right wing. Button hooks and sweeps it to the middle. Nobody there. Back out James. He has an angle. He scores! Alex James. 1:02 left in the period, and it's 2-1 Ice Pack.
Well, the last couple of minutes generated from this power play, NC State's been able to tilt the ice back towards the South Carolina DN, and it's Alex James just coming across. He was a hero earlier this season with a couple game-winning goals. Just goes right into the slot, picks up that loose puck. He's got a lane, and he finds the back of the net, and NC State takes their first lead of the night with 1:02 left in the first.
And you could kind of see that coming. James had all kinds of space. Tamoyan had to readjust after being square from a different angle. And now it'll be South Carolina's turn to try and respond.
What a moment for the senior from Minnesota, Alex James, getting a goal in an outdoor game.
South Carolina immediately putting pressure in the O-zone. Hacked out by Zach Herman. And South Carolina will reset. Turning with it, Nick Kay. Plays it along the wall, fed down low, and the centering pass out in front, but the net comes off its moorings. And the nets aren't quite as secure here, I've noticed. Last night, there were a couple times, particularly late, that both goaltenders had to kind of go back and fix the post because it would come off. They don't have the same pegs and the ability to keep them in place here as you would see, say, at an Invisalign Arena where we see most of these NC State games.
They didn't, and the star of last night's game, Chris, for Charlotte, he knocked it off a couple times during play. They just let him kind of fix it since play wasn't going to be affected by it. But a couple times for App State. About 3 or 4 times last night, Chris. That goal came off its moorings, and especially on the side NC State's shooting on right now.
Puck squirts out of the zone. It's going to skitter all the way down to Tamoyan. He had to think about it for a moment, but makes the right decision and comes out to play it. NC State trying to create something in the final 20. Finch will play it deep. In on the forecheck, Prasma takes it away out in front. Herman leaves it for Finch, shoots. Oh, and a save made by Tamoyan. Walked back up top. James already has one, tees up another, and catches the glass behind the goal. 6 seconds left in the period. Worked back behind the goal. Maybe one last chance as Prasma sends it out in front. Bouncing puck, and a save made by Tamoyan. I don't think it would have counted anyhow, but NC State really started to turn things around late in that period.
Yeah, they really did, and I think it's that power play induced. They responded well after that first goal, and the power play generated that second goal in terms of possession time in the O-zone.
Well, NC State, great response after giving up the first goal. South Carolina's John Riggins opened things up to make it 1-0 on a rebound. Just 22 seconds later, NC State's Thomas McEnany evened things up. And late in the period, the defenseman, Alex James, found it loose in the high slot, fired one on goal, and that's where we stand. NC State leads South Carolina after 20 minutes, 2-1. We'll be back. Welcome back to Truist Field here in Uptown Charlotte. Chris Lehman with you after 20 minutes. NC State leads it 2-1 over South Carolina. My partner Nick Perazzi down at ice level. What's going on, Nick?
I'm here with Ronan Mulcairn of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Ronan, first off, just want to ask, thoughts on the game, first period. You guys took a quick lead, 1-0. NC State responded, tied it up, then 2-1. What's the message going into the locker room right now?
Yeah, can't get too high, can't get too low. Got to stay even-keeled here. A couple unlucky bounces didn't go our way. We know we're going to get them back.
Now, in terms of just an outdoor game, I believe this is your first ever outdoor game as a team as well. What does it mean for this club just, kind of get presence here in Charlotte as well? And in terms of just this experience with all of these fans here watching you guys tonight?
Yeah, it's surreal. I mean, being able to look at the Charlotte skyline in the background, it's kind of unbelievable. I mean, we sold over 3,000 tickets. I know both teams were trying to grow the game of hockey in the South, so being able to take that big step towards that, it means a lot to both teams.
One last question for you, Ronan. I don't want to keep you too long. Going into this second period, should we expect any changes from you guys?
No, we like the way we're battling. A couple unlucky bounces. We're just going to keep battling.
All right, Chris, you heard it here from Ronan. They're going to keep battling going into the second.
Thank you, Nick. Good interview there with the defenseman Ronan Mulcairn, who had a pretty solid period for the Gamecocks. It is a 2-1 lead, though, for NC State after the first 20 minutes. Nick and I will be back up here in the booth to talk about it when we come back.
Why are sandwiches so much better hot?
I don't know. Why does everyone love summer or hot gossip? Hotter is just better. Oh, don't forget about hot ovens or hot peppers. Hot springs, hot chocolate, hot sandwiches.
Ooh.
Hot soup, hot air balloons, hot yoga.
I get it.
Or hot melted cheese.
Sorry.
Potbelly, we bring the hot.
From the top of D.H. Hill Library.
Don Diablo. Oh yeah, this is actually in my studio.
WKNC HD3 Raleigh.
Hey, what's up and what's going on, folks? It's Kid Kinetic, your boy up here at the top of the hour. And guess what I got? A treat that's too sweet to beat.
This is Wolf Bites Radio.
Oh, that's really sweet.
NC State.
My name is Zach Herman. I'm the captain of the NC State Ice Pack, and I was born and raised in the Raleigh area. We are a self-funded program doing our best to represent our university and the local hockey community in Raleigh on a national level.
My name is Alex James, and I'm a senior assistant captain from Lake Norman, North Carolina. The group you're watching out on the ice is a family, and that family does its best to represent you and the rest of the NC State community as best we can each and every day. Some of my top memories from this program include playing in front of over 20,000 NC State fans at Carter Finley, playing in front of over 10,000 NC State fans at Lenovo Center every year, and getting to play in front of a packed house every Friday night at Invisalign Arena.
We welcome and appreciate all your support along the way. Go Pack!
Locally owned and operated by an NC State graduate, the Red and White Shop is your source for all things NC State. Just off campus in the Ridgewood Shopping Center at 3526 Wade Avenue, the Red and White Shop has everything the NC State fan needs. Sporting goods and memorabilia, your favorite NC State team apparel, tailgating essentials, Ice Pack gear. A proud sponsor of the NC State hockey team, a percentage of all Ice Pack sales go back to the team. Stop by today or visit us online. The Red and White Shop.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
Chris Lehman and Nick Perazzi back with you here at Truist Field. NC State with a 2-1 lead over South Carolina after the first. And Nick, you just talked with defenseman Ronan Mulcairn there for a little bit. And I think really one of the last things he said in that interview with you really hit the nail on the head. They don't need to really change anything. They've been able to hem NC State into their own end. They've done a really good job of getting chances, and it's really just been NC State taking advantage of a couple of slip-ups.
Yeah, it's kind of like last night's game with App State and Charlotte. You know, App State early on was like South Carolina. They dominated the ozone time. They had a lot better chances, but Charlotte capitalized on 3 early mistakes, took a 3-0 lead. Tonight, 2 mistakes from South Carolina, maybe a little gasp, took a bit of a breath. We always say that's a Brindamore quote he loves to say, head coach of the Hurricanes, and that might have been the case there. You know, South Carolina might have just taken a breath after that goal. It's quickly 1-1, and then NC State generated from that power play. So without that power play, Chris, NC State was pinned up in their D end. That power play allowed the play to open up, get into the O-zone, and get that second goal.
Well, a couple of guys we haven't talked a whole lot about are the 2 guys between the pipes. Addison Lawrence has had to be active in that first period. NC State, though, actually out-shooting South Carolina 10-7 after 20 minutes, and there have been a couple of saves in tight that Tamoyan has had to make, and he's been up to the task every time.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, NC State out-shooting South Carolina. I think that's a big story to watch in terms of how both teams attacked this game. South Carolina had tons of ozone time. They were looking for the best shot. We saw that really good one-timer on the left side, just not the right angle of a shot to get on Addison Lawrence to make it 2-1 at the time for the Gamecocks. The other, at NC State's just letting it rip on Tamoyan, and so far I think they've had success. They've got him uncomfortable, they've got him sprawling. I expect more of the same from NC State.
Well, in terms of the second period, there's certainly some adjustments for NC State to make. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break. Still 40 minutes to play here in Charlotte. We're back at Truist Field. Chris Lehman and Nick Perazzi here in Uptown Charlotte. 2-1 lead for NC State after 20 minutes, and we're going to focus on the second 20 minutes now. As we talked about, for South Carolina, not a whole lot that they really need to change. They've done a great job of getting chances, and Addison Lawrence, they've spent a lot of time forcing NC State to defend, but they're going to have to find a way to finish.
One thing I've noticed with Addison Lawrence this year, since coming back from injury, is that the third period is when we start to see him give up some goals. First two periods, it's prime Addison Lawrence, maybe even better than last year Addison Lawrence. Third period slip-ups. The defense getting tired, maybe Lawrence is a little tired moving back and forth. So one thing I think South Carolina can do is speed up the pace of play on offense, make Lawrence move back and forth in that crease, get him a little bit uncomfortable, and look for more opportunities in the third period.
Well, and on the defensive side, obviously, if you're South Carolina, there are things to clean up. You're down 2-1, you've given up 2, and Mulcairn talked about it a little bit in that interview. Some bad bounces, but some of that also is positioning for South Carolina. Everybody was down along the goal line when that puck squirted loose for Alex James late in the period, and there was the turnover that led to the NC State's first goal. It was a little bit after that, but there are some mistakes that they've got to clean up as well.
Yeah, they are definitely some mistakes, and I think NC State got some puck luck go against them as well. The 2 chances where Monoyan was just scrambling. If Holden Kaufman gets that pass cleanly from Reese Johnson, it's more than likely 2-1 then, and maybe 3-1 later on. But overall, I think just both teams got a feel of the ice, got a feel of everything. Second period, I expect to see less mistakes. I mean, look how many people are here behind us, Chris. I don't know if the cameras are picking it up in terms of when the game's happening. You see it now. I mean, it is packed here at Truist Field tonight, and maybe that's causing a little bit of mistakes. All of the pressure, all the eyes looking down on you, that could make you maybe slip up once or twice.
Well, now I kind of want to turn our focus to NC State, because while they do have the lead, they probably have the most in terms of adjustments to make. Most importantly, they need to be able to get out of their own zone with possession of the puck.
Yeah, they do. Just break out. It's got to be what Tim Healy's talking about right now in that locker room. He loves to talk towards the end of periods, so I'm assuming right now is when he's drilling into his team that, hey, we got to make better breakout passes. We've practiced it before. We got to keep doing it as this game goes on, because South Carolina will take advantage of these mistakes.
Yeah, and one thing I think that's kind of something that both teams are going to have to continue to get used to. You talked about them kind of getting settled with the ice surface, but one thing that we've seen, puck likes to bounce around on this ice, and I think that's part of the reason some of those plays you referenced, like Holden Kaufman having trouble settling it down along the side of the net, those sort of things are going to be what give these two teams trouble, and I think part of it's going to be just puck luck. Who's able to get the puck to settle.
And like I said before about Alex James, up here, puck seemed like it wasn't bouncing at all, but we looked at that replay. That play was very critical on James. Got to take a lot of that criticism back off of him, because that puck was bouncing. He couldn't set it down. First, second period last night. I didn't get a look at the ice when I was down there a couple minutes ago, but last night, a lot of snow before the ZAM came out. Just a lot of loose ice, loose snow out there, causing those bouncing pucks. Tonight, didn't see as much, but that's still more than likely causing a lot of these bouncing pucks.
Yeah, well, the ice surface is smooth now as we get set for the second period. South Carolina making their way out to the ice. NC State will be there shortly. We're going to take one more quick break and come back with the second period here in Charlotte.
My name is Zach Herman. I'm the captain of the NC State Ice Pack, and I was born and raised in the Raleigh area. We are a self-funded program doing our best to represent our university and the local hockey community in Raleigh on a national level.
My name is Alex James, and I'm a senior assistant captain from Lake Norman, North Carolina. The group you're watching out on the ice is a family, and that family does its best to represent you and the rest of the NC State community as best we can each and every day. Some of my top memories from this program include playing in front of over 20,000 NC State fans at Carter Finley, playing in front of over 10,000 NC State fans at Lenovo Center every year, and getting to play in front of a packed house every Friday night at Invisalign Arena.
We welcome and appreciate all your support along the way. Go Pack!
Don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
Locally owned and operated by an NC State graduate, the Red and White Shop is your source for all things NC State. Just off campus in the Ridgewood Shopping Center at 3526 Wade Avenue, the Red and White Shop has everything the NC State fan needs. Sporting goods and memorabilia, your favorite NC State team apparel, tailgating essentials, Ice Pack gear. A proud sponsor of the NC State hockey team, a percentage of all Ice Pack sales go back to the team. Stop by today or visit us online. The Red and White Shop.
Life is for learning, from baby steps to big ideas. We plan, try, fail, and do better next time. Each day is a new experiment, a fresh chance to seek answers, connection, purpose. The mind is not a vessel to be filled. It's rocket fuel. And when you start at NC State University, you can't be stopped. NC State. Think and do.
Both teams back out on the ice as we're set for period number 2 between NC State and South Carolina. It was the Gamecocks striking first, John Riggins, with 13:24 left in the period that gave South Carolina the 1-0 advantage. It only took 22 seconds, though, for Thomas McEnany to tie it up, and then late in the period, Alex James gave NC State the difference maker now. 2-1 lead after 20. But we're switching sides. It's the period of the long change.
Yeah, it is, Chris. We saw it play a little bit of effect last night in App State Charlotte. These two teams love to play fast. We saw NC State have a long shift due to an icing. I think if you ice the puck here, you're going to be in trouble the way these two offenses have played. The one other thing to note, Chris, we finally have a goal on the third base side goal. We had all 6 goals last night scored right at the outfield wall where Addison Lawrence is taking the net right now for NC State. Riggins ended that curse, but NC State 2 more quickly, 8-1 in terms of where we've seen goals on each side of the ice.
As we mentioned, they'll flip sides. So for those of you watching on ESPN+, NC State moving left to right and South Carolina right to left. It'll be Herman centering Finch and Prasma for NC State. The wingers for South Carolina, Pineda and Kay. And the centerman is Jake Pushkar.
Pushkar, a name we haven't said too much tonight, Chris. He had 2 goals last time these two teams played. 1 goal last time these two teams played. 2 goals last night. I think he might make his name known this period here at Truist Field.
The 2 teams set to go at center ice. Not 100% sure. I think we're waiting on a reset of the clock as we get set to start the period. It was giving a few issues late in the period.
And Mr. Wolf a little concerned there.
He's ready to go.
Yeah. Wish we had Cocky here, but he had football duties down there in Columbia. But got the clock set, fresh 20 on the board, second period underway.
And NC State will win the opening draw of period number 2. Fed up the wall by Thronson. It will bounce down towards goal. Tmoyen steers it into the near corner, and South Carolina clears it back down the ice. Start to feel the temperature dipping as we get later into the evening here in Uptown Charlotte. But another great night to play outdoor hockey like we had last night. From the blue line, shot hits a stick. One-timer blocked as well. Prasma collects it. He'll skate it straight up the middle. Sweeps one in on goal. Ooh, a little bit of a rebound there for Tyler Tmoyen, but he's able to get back on top of it and freeze it for a face-off.
That second shot from the point from South Carolina is a bad shot. Prasma's right there to block it. It's just a simple wind up and shoot. Everyone knows it's coming. Pretty easy shot to block. Stayed on the ice the whole time, and it gave Prasma an opportunity the other way. Didn't get a good look, but it forces an O-zone face-off that NC State, if they could control, could be dangerous with.
The Herman line back out there. It'll be South Carolina winning the draw, though. They'll move it up and out. Near side now. It's Mulcairn looking to the middle. No one able to direct it on goal. Here's Finch for the ice pack. Sweeps it up the wall. He's got Herman there. Played rink wide for Thronson. He'll look up. Has Prasma who gets a tip on it. No icing now. NC State wins the race to it anyhow. Herman behind the goal. Looking for some help. Leaves it back below the goal line. Prasma moves it along to Nick Shook now. Swept back for Prasma. He'll walk it out in front. Quick shot. Stopped there by Tmoyen. Bouncing puck knocked down by Lapani and hacked at by Shook. He'll keep it in the zone for the moment, but South Carolina takes over as NC State needs a change.
This is where the long change can come into effect. South Carolina needs to get some fresh bodies potentially, but they're going to try offensively with Mulcairn.
Mulcairn trying to go past the right ear of Addison Lawrence there and ends up elevating it too much. Now it's Nick Shook. Backhands it towards goal. Knocked down there by Tmoyen. Couldn't control it though. South Carolina first to the loose puck. Mulcairn. Some pressure there from Johnson. Knocks it loose. Twirled over to the near side though where there's open space. It'll be shot in by the South Carolina defenseman Mulcairn. Worked around the wall. Riggins, the goal scorer. Pestered there by Weglars who takes it away. Now Lapani. Sends it around the wall. Reese Johnson waiting there. Chipped off the glass. Kaufman trying to push it out of the zone and can't. Bouncing puck in on Lawrence. He'll just settle it down for Lapani to take. Tried to backhand it back for Weglars. It got caught up behind the goal. NC State still first to it though. Weglars again. Has some space to advance it. Tried to feed it along for Kaufman. That was too strong, and South Carolina shoots it back in. Both teams just kind of settling into a flow here, it feels like. Weglar's there for NC State after the dump in. He'll be taken down. Not sure if he lost an edge or if it was the South Carolina player taking a spill. Either way, we're going to continue to play 5-on-5. Again, moving it out now. Johnson has to knock down a bouncing puck and then shoot it deep. NC State gets fresh bodies out there. Good forecheck here from Johnson. Just trying to keep it in the offensive zone as NC State gets the new line out there. Work back behind the Gamecock net. Looking for space. Riccatelli just throws it off the glass and out. Collected just below the red line by Berman, who sweeps it all the way in. Now Frosch up the boards. Touched along there by Strong. Nobody there in a black jersey, though. South Carolina advancing again. Chopped into the zone by Wilkins. Lawrence out of his net to play it behind the goal. Sends it along the wall, and it gets all the way out. Loose puck now. Gifford chasing after it. NC State has numbers. Gifford looking to the middle. Oh, it's slid just wide by Willoughby Ray. Great chance for NC State on the odd man rush. They couldn't capitalize. Here come the Gamecocks now with some speed. Shot on Lawrence. He's well out to challenge it, and he'll hold it in the glove.
Brooks Willoughby Ray's going to want that one back. He has a prime opportunity from a great feed right in front of the slot. 2-on-1, odd man rush. And Gifford he's able to make this good pass right there. Watch how he opens up his hits, turns 90 degrees, just pushed above the corner on the left side of Tamoyan. And then South Carolina quickly the other way. Quick shot of Lawrence. They get a no-zone draw.
On off the face-off, South Carolina controls initially. It'll be taken back, though, by Robinson. He's going to cut across the ice in the neutral zone. Fires away, and a big glove save from Tamoyan. He'll squeeze it for another face-up.
Game really has opened up these past couple of possessions. Last 3 shots of this game have been off of just odd man rushes or just rushing down the rink. We had Robinson there being the 3rd in a row to see that. Forces another O-zone draw, this time for the Pack.
They'll battle for it in the face-off circle. Chipped deep by Robinson, but the first one to the loose puck is Andrew Henderson of South Carolina. They'll reverse it up the far wall. McEnany stops that up. Retreating now is Marvin. He'll absorb a hit to move it out. Breakout pass, though, misses its target. NC State back in control. Thronson playing catch with his D partner, Sodden. They'll switch places now. Cross ice for Robinson. Looking through the middle for McEnany under some pressure. Gets caught up in skates, and the Gamecocks have control again. Rink wide off the boards. Taken back by NC State again. Here's Robinson working it down low. Looking to the middle, actually took a shot, and a very aware Tamoyan makes the save. That was a sneaky shot there from Zach Robinson.
What a snag from Tamoyan. He looked like a first baseman. You know, he shifted a little bit towards second base right now, but that's a great snag. It's a tough angle shot. Robinson goes a little high with it, and then look at this snag. Just he kind of shot it in the glove, but flashing the leather a little bit. Like I said, like a first baseman, Tamoyan. No, he could be a Charlotte Knight one day potentially with that glove.
Well, and you could see the space that Robinson was looking for. Nice job by Tamoyan to get the glove to it as Lawrence will melt this one down. And a face-off in front of his net coming up.
Well, one thing that surprised me, Chris, so far is the physicality of tonight's game is nowhere near what we saw last night or nowhere near what we saw back in Invisalign Arena in September. Both teams are playing smart. They're not throwing the body around.
Well, it'll be controlled by Herman off the face-off. He'll wheel behind his own net, has some trouble corralling it as he gets out towards the blue line. And now South Carolina knocks it loose, and they'll dump it deep. Sodden first there for the Pack. He'll be pinned to the wall, and the Gamecocks take over. Back to the blue line. D to D for Dunphy. Thrown through traffic. Oh, and a nice save made by Lawrence on a late ricochet in front of the net. Good chances here for South Carolina. Another one pinballing through traffic. Knocked away by the pad of Addison Lawrence. Now in the far corner, it'll get stuck up there. Herman there to defend. It'll be moved around to the near side, and now it's Finch trying to skate away from pressure. Sweeps it up the wall, but not out. Thrown towards goal. That one's blocked by Herman, and he needs to go off for a change as NC State got hemmed into their own end there.
That's a big bounce for NC State to be able to get that change, get some fresh bodies. Prasma and Finch still out there, though.
Bouncing puck off the skate of Wegler's as he holds the zone. Throws it towards goal. That will be blocked up by Dunphy. Trying to create some space with his own net. Moves it up the far wall. Space to advance now for the Gamecocks. Quick shot coming. Sticked away there by Addison Lawrence. They'll be swept back around by Riggins. NC State now in control. Kaufman feeds it forward. He's got Prasma with speed. Along now for Shook. Looking back to the middle. Can't connect with Prasma, who tracks it down along the wall. Back out to Lapani. Had some trouble corralling it, but held it in the zone. Now NC State has it. Kaufman looking out for Shook. Oh, it's under his stick. Nobody else there. And now South Carolina can advance in transition. Lots of speed here for Marcella. Drops it off, but that's intercepted. Now it's Reese Johnson looking across to the far side wall. Both teams having some trouble connecting on passes right now. They just don't seem to be in sync.
Yeah, Marcella just kind of dropped that puck off, hoping for the two D-men for South Carolina to get there. But they were just back at their own end playing conservatives. Big hit there, up high. Surprised we're not seeing a call on Lapani there.
Play will carry on. As we mentioned, it's going to get physical tonight. This atmosphere lends itself to it. Big hit there on Weglars by Thomas Loken. See if we can't get another look at that hit at the next stoppage. Here's Weglars now pawing it down. Off the wall behind his own net for Lapani, who returns the favor. Plenty of space for Jackson Weglars. Looking up ice, connects there with Shook. Pushed along now for Johnson, who comes in just onside, but can't take the puck with him as Enzo Finelli takes over, and South Carolina moves back the other way. Here goes Flaherty. Fans on the shot from the right wing. Tried to steer it in front, but Ricky Frost was having none of that. Loose puck. Gamecocks in control. A lot of space now. Shot stopped by Lawrence. The rebound hacked at, and it ends up in the far corner. Frost first there for the Pack. Moves it along now for Willoughby Ray. He'll be bodied up at the red line. NC State trying to carry it in. Brenner has to hold up, but it looks like he touched it off sides, and so that will get a stoppage. A lot of physicality coming out now.
Yeah, right after I said we haven't seen both teams be physical. The typical announcer's jinx from the color guy. Of course that had to happen. But you're right, Chris. The physicality's really picked up. And I think, this second period is kind of like the beginning of the first period. South Carolina able to set up offensively, get some good looks. Big save by Lawrence. It was just him. That last save that he had was all on him. No D-man was going to be able to get there because they were out of position. Good job by South Carolina. But again, the Gamecocks dominating O-zone in puck possession time.
Gifford looking to the high slot for Brenner. That pass disrupted. South Carolina takes back control, but they can't clear the zone. Held in at the near blue line by James, who will pitch it back below the goal. First one there, Willoughby Ray. He's going to be tripped up. Oh, no call coming. Play will carry on. James now at the red line, looking things over, trying to feather one into the middle. It's taken away, but NC State gets it right back. Here's Gifford. Steps around his man, feeds it to the middle. Here comes Brenner in the high slot, takes the shot, popped up in the air. It's loose, and it trickles along the goal line. Did it go in, though? We can't tell. And there's no official signal. It looks like South Carolina kept it out. NC State, though, thought it was in.
Well, it just popped up and almost went off the backside of Tamoyan. I believe I did see a no-goal call, but they're all around Tamoyan right now. It looks like it will not be a goal. That was a prime opportunity for NC State. We're going to get a really good look at it here. And Tamoyan, another 10-beller, just pops up. You can't really see it there.
Yeah, you can't really see the puck, but based on the way he fell down, I'm not sure the puck could have ended up in the net.
And the puck has to fully cross. Yep. Every single part of the puck has to be across the red that is in the goalie crease. It could be halfway across, no goal. It could be 99.9% across, but if any part of that puck is on the red, no goal. And I think the refs made the right call there.
So an offensive zone draw to the blocker side of Tamoyan. One backwards for Robinson. Played along to Sodden. His shot coming through. Doesn't get to the net. South Carolina will advance with it into the neutral zone. Down the right wing it comes. Pushing it forward. Nick Kay will chase after it. Sodden first there in the corner for the Pack. Moved along for Emery Oliver. He's bodied up and can't clear. At the blue line, Henderson D-to-D. Firing away. Shot blocked. Good chance there for Marvin, who gets the rebound himself and plays it down low. Still Marvin. Knocked away by Oliver, but not out. A little under 11 minutes left in the second. No goals yet here in the period. Shot coming there from Henderson. Didn't get through. Second try almost did. NC State under some pressure here. Marvin pinching in. Big hit by Robinson in the corner. Marvin slow to get up as NC State clears the zone.
This should be a wholesale line change for NC State, or as many as they can get off. They get 3 off. McEnany and Sawden still out there, but they're going to be able to come off now with an icing.
So NC State gets the draw back in the offensive end. 10:28 left in the second. I want to keep an eye on Tommy Marvin on the South Carolina bench. He was slow getting up in that near corner and really looked like he was laboring. There was something with one leg that just wasn't sitting right for him.
Yeah, Zach Robinson gave him a big hit. Both players went down. Just, trying to find your footing on this different ice that you're not used to. That could be the cause for concern of that injury.
Held in at the blue line. One-timer from Lapani. Sticked away there by Tamoyan. Another South Carolina player takes a spill. Will continue to play. Centering pass. Couple of chances there for Finch. And Tamoyan says no.
And Tamoyan's starting to lock in now. He feels a lot more comfortable. I think his stick actually broke there. And he's coming out to center ice. I believe he did lose his stick. It broke behind the play. And he's gonna get a new stick.
You can see it there on the bottom of the screen. The blade looks like it broke off.
Yeah.
Not often you see a goaltender needing a new stick.
No, you don't. We're gonna get a good replay of it here. Blade just goes flying. You can see it behind the play to the right.
Side of the screen, yeah. So another draw in the South Carolina end. Herman unable to win it. Gamecocks will play it all the way around. Weglar's pinches in. Fires it to the middle. South Carolina stops it up. It'll be held in again at the blue line. Big hit on the near side. NC State player, I think, still slow getting up. But we're back up and at him. As we mentioned, physicality certainly aplenty tonight.
Yeah, Prasma made that big hit on a Gamecock player. Just let his shoulder go into him. And a nice play by Prasma to get that puck back.
Sweeps it along for Herman. He'll carry down the right wing. Forced into the corner there nicely. Pins this man to the wall. He's going to get called for the penalty, though. We might get matching.
That's going to be another one.
That was not a smart play by, I believe that's number 18, Carson Scove, who came in and hit Herman.
And that's the captain, too.
The hit from Herman was, it wasn't a hard hit, but you can see here, it's a cross check to the back. It's an easy call. Yep. And then it's Scove coming in here late. We'll see if they take 2 or not. But it's definitely going to be Herman for a cross check.
Right now, I just see Herman coming over. A little surprised there's not taking a South Carolina player, too, although that might, we're going to get another Gamecock player to come over. They're putting Prasma in the box, too, though, Chris. This should be a power play here for South Carolina. Into the box for the Gamecocks is going to be number 18, Carson Scove, the junior from Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Here's another look at it.
I'm not sure what Prasma did unless it was after the play, and they're going to talk about it. Referees all joining together.
You get a look there at Prasma. Didn't really see if he did anything else other than pin his man to the wall, but Prasma's a guy for NC State that's known to muck it up a little bit. So it's not all that surprising to see him sitting there with Zach Herman.
Well, the thing is, I think he took that penalty because it was the captain, Zach Herman, that took that big hit up high. That might be the discussion, the big hit. He just has him around the neck up there. I don't really see much there from Prasma, to be honest with you, Chris. Just looks like regular extracurriculars after the play.
We may very well have missed something after the replay cut out there. But Prasma is in.
It's going to be 5-on-4 Gamecocks.
The first power play of the game for South Carolina here.
Well, what can South Carolina do? They've been able to get things going offensively, get good looks. This power play is just going to make them take the open ice a lot better. They've been able to do that all game, just find where NC State's not and rip good shots away.
South Carolina controls to start the power play. They'll work it up to the top of the umbrella. Here's Riggins. Fed down low into the corner. He'll get it right back. Moved across along the blue line. Played over one-timer. They score. That was a rocket. And it's now 2-2. Marco Pineda with the power play goal.
Well, M. Pineda. He's got a similarity with an MLB pitcher, Michael Pineda, on an MLB diamond. Rockets. This one, though, a rocket of a shot past Lawrence. Look at the traffic in front South Carolina generates. The USC chants go wild as they play Sandstorm, and this game's tied at 2 from the power play goal.
Well, it only took 15 seconds of power play time for South Carolina to strike, and that was a missile from Pineda. So we're back to 5-on-5. And I believe it's matching roughing penalties to Prasma and to Scove. They are the two still in the box. Herman is now back out. But NC State with some work to do. They had a lot of the momentum. They had been taking over. Here comes South Carolina again. The shot catches the glass. Net comes off moorings as a couple of players collided going in towards the net. I believe it was Kaufman in there on the collision. They just got tangled up here as we get another look.
You're trying to see who for South Carolina went tumbling, but you'll see here Kaufman gets holed up. It might be John Riggins.
That's exactly who it is. Riggins with a goal and an assist tonight. Looks like he'll shake it off and be okay as he heads to the bench. Just got tangled up there with Kaufman.
But South Carolina nearly catches NC State napping after that penalty and after the goal they get to tie it up at 2. They nearly get a third just then. You know, NC State taking a breath a little bit. They've got to respond. They responded well after the first goal from the Gamecocks. Can they respond well again with their captain coming out of the box, but their leading point getter and goal scorer Prasma in the box?
Played long by Thronson. NC State beats out the icing. Shook turns it to the middle. Nobody gets a stick to it. Now NC State turns right back out. Here's Reese Johnson stepping through the defense. Walks right around his man and got it tangled up in his skates. Couldn't get a shot away. Behind the net now, Shook dispossessed. It'll be held in by Sodden on the near blue line. Down low, Kaufman plays it along below the goal line now. Nobody there for NC State. It'll be pitched back out by Marcella. And the second effort sends it the length of the ice. This is likely to be icing.
Another Gamecocks chant bringing out now South Carolina fans in full force. They're the ones that are being more rowdy. South Carolina able to get the crowd back into this game. First half of this period, I don't think crowd was too much of a factor, but the Gamecock chants are just getting louder and louder now up here, Chris.
And there wasn't a whole lot to get either side into it. You know, there have been some chances, but nobody had really done anything crazy. No really big hits. And so you're starting to see the crowd kind of re-energized a bit. 8:17 left in this second period. And the power play goal from Marco Pineda has us tied at 2. NC State will ice the puck now. And they'll head back to their own end for this face-off.
Now, all 5 guys for NC State not out there a long time either, though. Thronson and Sodden, your top 2 defensemen, will be out there, but can South Carolina generate something with an ozone draw? Can they retake the lead at 3-2 with 8:08 to go? Helping to note, shot totals now 17-11 in favor of NC State. Just for this period for the Gamecocks, 7 for NC State. The Gamecocks with 1 past Addison Lawrence.
NC State controls the D-zone draw. Gifford had some trouble controlling it, but does get it out and all the way down the ice. He'll come in on the forecheck in the corner. Has some help there as well from Strong. Here's Gifford. Double teamed in the corner. Moves it out to some loose space. Back up top, NC State's Thronson can't keep it in. And now NC State has to check up as South Carolina moves it out. 7:40 left in the second period. Far wall, Sodden stops it up. Gifford lays a hit as he pokes it along for Strong. He'll elevate it out into neutral ice, and South Carolina shoots it right in on Addison Lawrence.
Oh, one more thing about that power play goal. NC State, again, not making it easier on their goaltender, Addison Lawrence. A lot of goals he's given up this year have been because of the defense, just putting him in really bad spots.
Here's Willoughby Ray, finds an open Weglar's far blue line. And that shot seen all the way by Tamoyan. Easy glove save.
I think NC State needs to generate some energy. The band's going to play here in a second, but they've got to get a chant going, just something to get the crowd into it for the NC State fans here, because right now it seems like all the energy's with South Carolina. You just have a feeling, Chris, that in this building, it's the Gamecocks that are exuberating more energy, that are getting more energy. They're winning the 50-50 pucks right now.
Oh, and they'll win the face-off here. Pitchforked along the glass, and South Carolina looking to skate it out. They will. Played to the middle. Plenty of space now to move forward. Turning with it there was Marvin, who has it knocked off his stick. And the Gamecocks able to recontrol just outside the blue line.
A penalty coming up.
And NC State, we talked about discipline. They're going to have to kill off another penalty here. South Carolina has seen just 15 seconds of power play time, and they're 1 for 1.
And it's going to be number 12, Aiden Brenner, the junior from Amherst, New Hampshire.
Should be a hooking
It's going to be a
penalty.
hooking penalty. Yep, you didn't even have to look at the call, Chris. You knew exactly what it does.
I saw the signal early. I did cheat.
I looked at the official signal in front of the bench, but South Carolina back on the power play. They've got all momentum. They've got all the energy. Prime opportunity to retake the lead 3-2. Like you said, Chris, 13 seconds in, they netted one home. Can they do it again?
Well, and it really came off just about a set play. And they'll see if they can set it up again as they win the draw. Over to the near side. Back up for Riggins. This is where they set it up last time. They'll play catch along the blue line. Riggins again. Moved along. Here's Marvin. Back across to Riggins. Played down low into the middle. And it hops the stick of Reed, who had an open net to try and give South Carolina the lead. Gamecocks still in possession. Riggins played down to the goal line. Turned around and the net comes off. Again, this is going to be tough. It was just a really kind of a normal push off from Addison Lawrence that knocks the net off its moorings. And if you're a goaltender, and we're talking ACHA D2, you're not necessarily going to find a lot of guys who would think this way. But if you're Addison Lawrence and a scramble in front, you maybe push off a little too hard a couple times.
It depends on what the referees think,
Let
though.
go.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be.
This will just be a face-off, again, won by South Carolina. They have been really strong in the face-off circle tonight. Centering pass, denied nicely by Weglers down low. It'll be worked back up top. Pressure from McEnany. Shot down the wall, Weglers looking to elevate it up and out. Nice job. Oh, I thought it was a nice job by Riggins to keep it in, but the linesman on the far side able to get an eye on it, and it's offsides.
Yeah, and the back judge, all the way back at South Carolina's D end, he was saying that was going to be no icing. He waved it off. We mentioned it before, Chris. I mean, we could barely see the blue lines on the ice, especially where they just called that offside. So maybe the refs aren't seeing the blue lines exactly how they should be.
To be sent deep by South Carolina. Still have 1:05 left on the power play. Maybe a chance here for Finch as the puck squirts loose. Here he comes shorthanded, and he sends it over the goal. Probably a wise decision there from the Ice Pack penalty killer, just to make sure he wastes some time. Shot in again by Riggins. Sent back around the far wall by Lawrence. Held in by Riggins. Moved down the half wall for Pushkar. John Riggins again. Walking with it. Down for Pushkar. Slips under his stick. Able to retrieve it off the wall, though. Again to Riggins. 35 seconds left on the power play. Here's Tommy Marvin. Moved along to Pineda. Back across for Riggins again. Good movement from South Carolina, not creating any opportunities, though. Pushkar, just on the side of the goal, tried to lift it up over Lawrence and just missed. Down to 20 seconds of man advantage time. Curling and dragging there is Riggins. Pushkar back up for Marvin. He'll walk with it over to Pineda, one-timer, and it's swallowed up by Addison Lawrence with 12 seconds left of power play time.
Man, what a fastball from Pineda again. And I really like what South Carolina's doing with Pushkar right down low, like on the stick side of glove side of Addison Lawrence. They just have him there looking to punch one in. A couple times Lawrence hasn't been able to cover. They're going to get a new line change, though, as this power play is about to come to an end. But South Carolina might be finding something there on future power plays, as Homer the mascot's got a couple boxing gloves out there.
NC State wins the draw. Sodden can't clear, but the second effort from Strong sends it all the way down. That should finish off the penalty to Aiden Brenner as the final seconds bleed off, and we're back to 5-on-5 with 4:45 left in the period. Here come the Gamecocks, though, with speed down low to the middle. Big save twice by Lawrence. Oh, what a play on Loken to keep it 2-2, and South Carolina's not done yet. NC State back in control. They'll move it up and out as there's a bit of a wrestling match behind the play. Here's Willoughby Ray looking to the middle. He's got Thronson unable to control. Now South Carolina has numbers moving back the other direction. Down the right wing, looking to the middle. The pass disrupted there by Gifford, and South Carolina will regroup in the O-zone. Down that near wall. 4:14 left here in the second period. Back and forth they go. It's South Carolina and NC State.
Wow, just a couple big saves from Addison Lawrence. Those are NHL-level big saves he had to make right there to keep this game tied. NC State trying to come the other way. They can't, but Gifford. That play from Gifford the other way, 2-on-2. Sodden's not in the best position to stop a cross-ice pass coming in for a one-timer past Lawrence. What a play by Gifford to get his stick on that after Lawrence made two beautiful saves to bail the defense out.
Face-off on top of the Gamecock blue line. It'll be Kaufman winning the draw for NC State. Weglar's D to D for Lapani, who shoots it right in on Tamoyan. And he'll set it down for Benjamin Riccatelli. Up the wall, Weglar's will have to retreat as he can't hold the zone. Back across to Lapani. Chipped in by Shook. 3:42 left in the second. NC State with pressure. Johnson forces the turnover, and he misses Shook out in the high slot. That would have been a golden opportunity from one of NC State's best shooters. Hustling back for it now is NC State's Lapani. Able to pin it to the wall. Puck pops loose. Ice Pack trying to clear. Kaufman sweeps it out of the zone. Riccatelli takes over for the Gamecocks. He'll fire it into the corner. Shot up the wall, held in though again by South Carolina. Turning with it is Flaherty, still in control. Shook pestering him. Flaherty walking in, shoots. Oh, it's off the post. NC State trying to come back the other way, and a sliding play by Riccatelli avoids what it could have been a disastrous odd man rush for the Ice Pack. Still pressure from South Carolina. That shot catches a stick, and it ends up out of play with 2:48 to go.
Oh, we got to get another look at that last chance for South Carolina. I thought that puck went in, Chris. It just disappeared on us. Might have went behind the net a little bit. I mean, Flaherty just walks it in off the right post. I mean, Shook got beat, but someone's got to help him out. Flaherty just walked in. NC State didn't do the best job of just helping out Shook. He did a really good job putting pressure. Flaherty walking in, nearly backhands one past Lawrence.
Ice Pack control. They can't get it out of the zone. Herman now trying to push it out. Has some help from Prasma. NC State into neutral ice now. Prasma sweeps it all the way across, looking for Finch. They can't connect, but NC State still holds the line. Shot coming through, and a save made there by Tamoyan on a deflected shot in the slot. Prasma takes it away again. He'll shoot it down deep. Herman first there. Ice Pack trying to set up now. 2:15 left in the period. Back up top, James walks the line, takes the shot, loose in the slot, and South Carolina clears it out of danger. It hops the stick of James now. Maybe a breakaway coming up here. In they come. Shot stopped by the mask of Lawrence, and we're going to get a penalty here on James. And another power play for South Carolina. But again, the bouncing puck plaguing Alex James here, and he just does everything he can to deny a clean opportunity for Marco Pineda.
And right off the mask of Lawrence, just heads it down. Pineda's been just a pain in the neck for the NC State Ice Pack. And with 2:02 to go, this power play is pretty much for the rest of the period for South Carolina. They're 1 for 2 on it. Can they get something going this time and potentially take the lead?
South Carolina 1 for 2 on the man advantage this period. They didn't have any chances on the power play in the first, but they've created some great scoring opportunities on both power plays so far. And they've done a really good job of doing just what they just did, winning the opening draw. Here's Riggins playing catch with Marvin. Down low, Pushkar sends it right back up to the top of the circle. Marvin now on the blue line. Back to Riggins again. He's got Pushkar. They need to get it across to the other side to open things up. Now Pineda looking across, he finds Pushkar. Back to Riggins. He'll get it back from Pushkar once more. Down to Pushkar from Marvin. Back to Riggins. One-timer. Not sure if Lawrence got a piece of it. He came out to attack the shot, though. 1:22 on the man advantage. Just a couple seconds more left in the period. NC State trying to clear. This one will get all the way around the wall and out. Strong clearance there from McEnany.
They got to hustle NC State to clear. Oliver immediately off the ice. McEnany, those got to be quicker to get off the ice there. Brenner, Thronson stay on.
So NC State does get a couple of fresh sets of legs out there. Brenner, one of them. He'll take the awkward carom in the neutral zone and skate it into the O-zone end before he's dispossessed. 52 seconds left in the period, 49 seconds left on the power play for the Gamecocks. It'll be shot into the corner, high stick there on NC State, and it'll be touched up by Finch. And so we'll get a quick stoppage, as it was Tate Sodden playing the puck with a high stick.
NC State State's first good penalty kill in terms of just how they played the previous 2 power plays for South Carolina. A lot of space for the Gamecocks previous 2. 13 seconds got the goal last time. And this time, the past time, a lot of time spent. South Carolina find the empty ice. This time, NC State doing a better job, but they've got 40 seconds left to kill. But that's a good start for the Ice Pack. Can South Carolina break out, though, find that empty space? They've got that PP1 line out there with Pushkar.
That was a nice hustle play there by Aiden Brenner to get to the loose puck and clear it. Less than 30 seconds left in the period now. Speed coming in for Bunsukin, but he can't take the puck with him. NC State sends it right back down the ice, and they'll get some more fresh legs out. 15 seconds left in the period. 2-2 hockey game. The lone goal, a power play goal by Marco Pineda this period, as South Carolina was able to even things up. 6 seconds left in the period. Working with it along the wall. Now back out top, shot deflected into the far corner, and that will finish off period number 2. So 3 power play chances for South Carolina. They strike on one of them, Nick, and we're tied at 2 with 20 minutes left.
Yeah, and NC State did a much better job the last 2 power plays. First one, 13 seconds in, instant goal. Last one, a lot of great zone time, empty space for the Gamecocks. NC State, though, able to kill it this past time. Excellent power play from the Ice Pack.
Well, it has been a heck of a hockey game so far, and we still have 20 minutes left to play between NC State and South Carolina. The Gamecocks have done a really good job of controlling the play. They've not been able to finish quite as efficiently as NC State, but you got to think South Carolina is going to have the advantage as we head to the final 20 minutes. Gamecocks and Ice Pack heading off the rink here. We're going to take a break as well. We'll be back with the second intermission. After 40 minutes, we're pretty much where we were when we started, tied up. 2-2 the score between NC State and South Carolina. Chris Lehman with you. We've got my partner Nick Perazzi down ringside with defenseman Alex James of NC State. What do you got for us, Nick?
Back here on the ice now, this time with an Iceback player, Alex James. Alex, this is your second time playing outside. I want to take you back to that first time at Carter Finley, but off air we talked about comparing the two. What does it mean, though, for the players that didn't play outside?
I think, this is a big experience. This doesn't happen for every team, doesn't happen in every league. There's a lot of, guys playing NCAA D1 that don't get this experience. So, I think it means a lot to the guys in our locker room. We're enjoying every moment of it. So, yeah.
Now, I want to talk about that second period for you guys. Down in terms of goals that second period, 1-0, a power play goal for South Carolina. You guys killed off the last two. Kind of take us through that second period, that penalty kill, those last two specifically.
I took that last penalty there. I didn't think that was too good of a period for us. I thought we were slow. I thought, again, we were taking too many penalties, some stick infractions that we could have eliminated by moving our feet more. So I think we got to regroup, get some water in us, and move our feet more in the third.
One thing me and Chris have noticed upstairs where we're at there, Alex, is that South Carolina is being able just to dominate ozone time, move the puck well. You guys are kind of struggling to get ozone time. What needs to fix going into the third period to combat that?
I think that starts with our bench. We got to get guys going. We got to get every single person going. Guys that are on the ice, guys that are on the bench. It's all energy. We know we're a fast team. We know we can play faster than them at times if we move our feet. We showed it for glimpses there in the first, a little bit there at the end of the second. But yeah, we got to get our feet moving.
Well, 20 minutes more for you guys. Alex tied up at 2. I'll let you get back to the locker room, get into the groove for this upcoming third. Chris, Alex James says they're a fast team. They got to keep it fast on the ice.
Thank you, Nick. It's certainly going to be an interesting third period. NC State going to try and harness the momentum in the break and bring it out in the third period. But for right now, nothing separating these two teams. 2-2 between NC State and South Carolina. We'll be back during the second intermission.
Why are sandwiches so much better hot?
I don't know. Why does everyone love summer or hot gossip? Hotter is just better. Oh, don't forget about hot ovens. Or hot peppers. Hot springs, hot chocolate. Hot sandwiches.
Ooh.
Hot soup, hot air balloons. Hot yoga.
I get it. Hotter is better.
Or hot melted cheese.
Sorry.
Potbelly, we bring the hot.
Men's health is worth fighting for.
Men are 3 times less likely to ask for help if they are struggling.
Nearly 100 men will lose their lives to suicide each day.
To suffer from substance abuse disorders.
Men need to thrive, not just survive.
We're here to champion men's wellness.
One man at a time.
We are stronger together.
The conversation about men's mental health continues.
Locally owned and operated by an NC State graduate, the Red and White Shop is your source for all things NC State. Just off campus in the Ridgewood Shopping Center at 3526 Wade Avenue, the Red and White Shop has everything the NC State fan needs. Sporting goods and memorabilia, your favorite NC State team apparel, tailgating essentials, Ice Pack gear. A proud sponsor of the NC State hockey team, a percentage of all Ice Pack sales go back to the team. Stop by today or visit us online. The Red and White Shop.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
My name is Zach Herman. I'm the captain of the NC State Ice Pack, and I was born and raised in the Raleigh area. We are a self-funded program doing our best to represent our university and the local hockey community in Raleigh on a national level.
My name is Alex James, and I'm a senior assistant captain from Lake Norman, North Carolina. The group you're watching out on the ice is a family, and that family does its best to represent you and the rest of the NC State community as best we can each and every day. Some of my top memories from this program include playing in front of over 20,000 NC State fans at Carter Finley, playing in front of over 10,000 NC State fans at Lenovo Center every year, and getting to play in front of a packed house every Friday night at Invisalign Arena.
We welcome and appreciate all your support along the way. Go Pack!
Chris Lehman, Nick Brazzi, back with you here at Truist Field. We couldn't ask Nick for a much better game right now. 2-2 after 40 minutes, and we've talked about it a lot. It feels like right now South Carolina has been the better team.
Yeah, and I asked Alex James in that last interview, South Carolina's doing a fantastic job, just pinning them in deep, getting their O-zone time, getting a lot of great shot opportunities. They're not taking a lot of shots, they're getting a lot of good looks, though. And he said it's going to come up to our bench. We got to use our depth to our advantage, and they got to play fast. They got to get out of the zone quickly and try to establish something in their O-zone.
Yeah, and I think first things first, I want to look at the South Carolina team. They are playing perfectly to their style of game. They're physical, they're fast, they're getting down into the dirty areas. A lot of times when the puck comes off the wall, it's a white jersey coming away with it.
Yeah, it is. I think South Carolina so far has played the perfect game. I don't think there's much you can rag home about on South Carolina in terms of negativity. Yep. Maybe the penalty that gave NC State that second goal in terms of just getting going, in terms of getting the possession of the puck. But overall, you got to be happy if you're in that South Carolina locker room right now. When I was running back out there onto the field, heard some South Carolina coaches and some of the staff saying, next one's going to matter the most, and it certainly is in a 2-2 game.
Well, the other thing it feels like is this South Carolina team has done a really good job of harnessing what they did in the third period at Invisalign Arena, where they made it a really tight game, and they've done that here for 40 minutes so far.
Yeah, they really have. Last time at Invisalign, they came in that third period down 4-1. They kept it close early on, but NC State able to pull away. Tonight, penalties for NC State. South Carolina capitalized on them, and I think they've just matched up much better against NC State than they did back in September. I think, they picked up on what NC State likes to do. They picked up on their tendencies. They also played a game last night. NC State hasn't played since last Saturday at George Mason, so maybe that might play into a factor as well. South Carolina might want this game more, and certainly it looks like that on the ice right now.
Well, you talk about wanting it more. There was something in that interview you had with Alex James that really stuck out to me, and it was when he talked about the bench. A lot of times it feels like when we're watching this NC State team, it seems like something's off, but you can't necessarily figure out what it is. And I think he kind of got a little glimpse into what it is from Alex James there. They need the energy on the bench. There's not that extra, as you talked about, wanting it more. There isn't that from NC State right now, and you've got to get that extra jump in your step.
The first question I asked him when I got down there off camera was, this is your second time outside, right? He said, yeah, I played at Carter Finley. I said, what's the experience like? He says, I really like the view here. The fans, though, at Carter Finley, a lot better. There was obviously a lot more, 30,000 versus about 7 tonight. But the energy, Chris, 4-1 going into the second period against UNC back in October, and the ice pack fell on their face. Second and third period. No energy. Tonight, after that South Carolina goal, it erupted. They were playing Sandstorm. It felt like we were down at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, and they had a football game there today. It was loud. Sandstorm was blaring. NC State did not have a response. They need to get something to get these fans riled up. They got to get the bench riled up as well. They just need something to give them a lot of energy.
Well, and I think the first 5 minutes of this third period are going to be really important.
Yeah.
You talked about what you heard coming from that South Carolina locker room. This next goal is going to be really, really important. I think more so if you're NC State than if you're South Carolina. The way that South Carolina has played, if they can stick to their game, even falling behind by a goal again, I think you're comfortable as the Gamecocks being able to come back. But if you're NC State, the momentum really hasn't been in your favor other than a few stretches throughout the course of this game. And if you give one up and you fall behind again, it's really going to be a lot harder for them to come back.
Yeah, and I trust South Carolina more to come down 3-2. I trust them a lot more than NC State right now. The way NC State's played tonight, they are not playing their brand of hockey. They have to get physical. They have to make extracurriculars happen, I think, too. Get underneath players' skins. They're going to need Prasma. They're going to need Herman. They're going to need guys in the locker room to get the boys riled up in there. For South Carolina, though, keep playing your brand of hockey and get a little more physical. I think you get underneath NC State's skin more, draw a couple more penalties, create more chances on the power play. I think you'll be perfectly fine going into this third period and potentially winning this game.
Well, and the one piece I think that we haven't put a lot of focus on here that certainly deserves some praise on both ends is the goaltending.
Yeah.
You look at the shot and the shot totals and the save percentages, maybe not exactly where you want them, but both Addison Lawrence and Tyler Tamoyan have made some big saves in some important situations.
Yeah, and that second one on Addison Lawrence, you can't put blame on him that we saw in the second period. On the penalty kill, a lot of traffic in front. He had a couple times, though, later that period, the second power play for South Carolina. Some breakaways, odd man rushes as well, where he was left out to dry from his defense.
Yep.
Defense has to help him out. This third period for Lawrence has been his worst this season because the defense is not helping him out. NC State this season in third periods Chris, we've seen them blown about 3 or 4 leads in the third period this season. They've lost almost all of them as well. And I think it's actually more than 4 games that they've blown leads. This team needs to find a way to close things out. They have to finish strong, and that's something they're still searching for as we come to an end of the first half of the season.
Well, one thing that might be good for NC State then is the fact they don't have the lead going into the third period. You don't have that to fall back on. But again, I think finding a way to get past Tamoyan is going to be difficult. He's a big body in net, and he moves well.
Yeah, in that second period, they didn't get him uncomfortable. They didn't make him make any sprawling saves. They didn't make him get on his backside, except for that one that nearly trickled in. That was it. Otherwise, he was cool as a cucumber in net tonight, in that second period. Third period, NC State has to come out with energy. They got to come out with some firepower. They have to set the tone in their brand of hockey, or else South Carolina's going to be able to get this win tonight.
Well, there's still plenty of time for both sides to figure things out and come away with the win. We're through 40 minutes here at Truist Field. NC State 2, South Carolina 2. We'll be back with the third period coming up shortly.
Well, South Carolina and NC State closing in on the third period. They should both be taking back to the ice here very soon in Uptown Charlotte. It has been a fantastic weekend of outdoor college hockey, Nick, and you really couldn't ask for much better weather. It's another great night.
You couldn't. Had a little bit of concern Thursday, of course, with them having to cancel that game. Weather a little bit warm. We've had a really warm fall, but we had a big cold front come on through, blast a lot of cold air, and it's perfect hockey weather right now here in Charlotte.
Yeah, the ice is ready. Two teams should be heading out soon. You get a look there at Uptown Charlotte. And again, I can't ask for a much better view. You talked about Alex James, one of a couple players who have played in both outdoor venues. he said something similar to what I said. The view here is absolutely incredible, and you can't ask for a much better setting. You heard it as well in the first intermission interview with Ronan Mulcairn. He talked about looking up, seeing the Charlotte skyline while they're playing. It's a really, really cool venue, and you hope that they're able to continue to do this on a yearly basis.
Yeah, it's the third year they've done it. First 2 years was Charlotte hosting it, University of North Carolina at Charlotte. They hosted Wake Forest the first time, lost 5-3. Last year, the Outdoor Classic, as the lights go out and we get ready for the third period, it was App State beating Charlotte in overtime 6-5. The third iteration of the Outdoor Classic last night, but it was Charlotte getting revenge 5-1. And tonight, the battle at the ballpark. And just want to comment the facilities here. The amount of work they put on the ice, the ability to have their own team use the Jumbotron to be able to, for all the fans to see it, and the lights right now, Chris. It's just adding to this beautiful atmosphere. It's phenomenal that we're able to play a game here.
Well, and you get a look there up close as well at the NC State coaching staff out on the bench. And I was talking with head coach Tim Healy at practice the other night on Thursday, and he showed me some of the stuff that they were wearing, the baseball-themed gear that they had. And he actually showed me the jacket he's wearing. On the collar on the back says 9 Avent. So the coaching staff of the baseball team, they don't get to keep the jackets, but they have loaned the baseball jackets to the NC State coaching staff to wear for this game, which is just really, really cool. It's one of the things that this NC State program does well. They lean into these kinds of things really well. You saw them with the baseball bats in the starting lineup as well. They do a great job of really, as I said, leaning into this kind of theme and connecting with the university as well. You get the baseball team in on this a little bit.
Yeah, and how about that honor Tim Healy has, the greatest baseball coach in NC State history, Elliott Avent. Took the boys to the College World Series this past season in Omaha. Wasn't the result the Wolfpack looked for, but what an honor to wear that jacket, and what a sick jacket it is. Probably my favorite logo in terms of the word font that NC State has in terms of baseball. But the other side, South Carolina with their pinstripe jerseys, you get a good look of it up close, matching the Charlotte Knights jersey. Saw App State with some pinstripe jerseys. I think these South Carolina ones are very, very identical to the Charlotte Knights jerseys, paying homage to the team that's lending them this ballpark to be playing hockey in.
Well, and another thing that kind of brought it up a little bit later on in the game last night, it was mentioned as well by Ronan Mulcairn in the first intermission that both of these teams, both these programs want to grow the popularity of hockey in the South. And I'll say it again, like I said last night, there's not a much better way to do it than this. When you get the production level here that you do at Truist Field, it's a little bit different. The venue's certainly bigger, a bigger stage at Carter Finley, but you didn't have the same production you have here tonight, and I think that adds to it that much more.
And I think it does too, Chris, as a native here in the Charlotte metro area, going to school at NC State and Raleigh. Raleigh's hockey culture just blows Charlotte's out of the water. I think something Charlotte can work on in terms of the city as a whole. Just the AHL Checkers here used to be affiliated with the Hurricanes, now the Panthers. A lot of people lost apathy there. You know, it wasn't the local team. They're feeding the Panthers. Who goes to a Panthers game in Charlotte? But now, with this game being here, held annually, the amount of fans we have here tonight, more than likely the largest crowd in Truist Field hockey history. And we still got one more to go in January with UNC and Virginia Tech. This is exactly what the city of Charlotte needs to explode on the hockey scene. But for the third period, Chris, who's going to want it more? Is it going to be that man right there in the Gamecocks beanie? Is it going to be Tyler Tomoyan? Or is it going to be the man across the way getting fist bumps right now, Addison Lawrence? Who wants it more net, and who's 5 in front of them wants it more there?
Well, we're just about set to go. They've swapped ends one more time. NC State will move right to left across your screen here in the third. In the white uniforms with the pinstripes, the Gamecocks will move left to right. Top line out there for the NC State Ice Pack. Herman will take the draw. It'll be one forward by South Carolina, but NC State controls. Here we go, final 20 minutes to decide it.
9 goals scored on the side. NC State's shooting on right now in these last 2 nights. Just 1 for where South Carolina's shooting on, but they have that one with a Riggins goal to open up tonight's game.
I can see the pace immediately at the start of this third period. Here comes Herman. Had some trouble controlling it. Prasma finds it, throws it off a body over to the near side wall where it can be hacked all the way down the ice. This will be icing.
Well, this is a great opportunity for NC State. Something they lacked those first 2 periods was sustaining O-zone time. They just do not look like the normal NC State team that we see in terms of holding the O-zone, getting a lot of shots, generating a lot of production in the offensive end. Early on, right after an icing, a great opportunity to do so.
You can see Prasma set up there. He'll spin it back across. Off the draw as NC State wins it. And it's out of play as Lapani came together there with Nick Kay and popped it over the glass.
Well, no souvenirs tonight yet in the crowd. A couple kids will try to get that puck. Last night, though, we did see a puck go in the crowd, land on a jersey. Someone able to take home a souvenir, but none yet.
Off the draw, South Carolina sweeps it around the wall. Weglars pinches in to keep it in the zone. He's got Prasma now with it. Looking, shooting. Big save. It'll be moved forward here. South Carolina in control. Big hit by Finch as off balance there was Pineda. And he got knocked to the ice. Well, there's one game that has been played here back in January of this year. The Checkers hosted 11,000 fans here for a hockey game. But a good atmosphere either way. South Carolina back the other direction. Riggins throws it to the middle. Off a skate, still loose there, and it ricochets wide of the goal. It'll be collected now by Henderson, who moves it back up, and a bouncing puck gets out into neutral ice.
A couple of times you've seen the pinball effect right in front of Lawrence. He lost his stick there. He's got to get in net. South Carolina could have caught him napping there. He lost his stick. He's got to be ready.
Powering in there. Don't get a shot away to the Gamecocks. Back out to the blue line. Shot coming. Big save made on the post by Lawrence. Still loose, and they knock it in. 1:46 into the third. South Carolina with 2 straight, and they've got the lead for the first time since early in the first.
Puck control in front for Addison Lawrence is the reason why the Gamecocks have the lead. And that first goal, all important. Just there cleaning it up, Carson Scove, the junior from Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Baseball celebration.
Yeah, we saw it earlier from Riggins. They're buying into this theme. The Gamecocks are now up 3-2. Sandstorm blasting again.
See how NC State can respond. The last time they fell behind, it only took 22 seconds to even it up. Puck skitters in on the South Carolina goal. It'll be melted down by Tamoyan. And we'll get a face-off in front of the South Carolina net.
But it goes back to what I said during the intermission report, Chris. Whoever gets that first goal is so important. More important for NC State to get it. I trust South Carolina more to come back. A big mountain to climb now for NC State, who just cannot generate anything on offense.
South Carolina wins the draw. They'll clear it up and out. Weglars first to it for the ice pack. Throws it off the near wall down the ice where it can be taken by Aiden Dunphy. And South Carolina reverses with it. Bonsukin looking for space, misses everybody. And Weglars will track it down for the ice pack. Thrown around the wall. This one will be collected by Reese Johnson. His breakout pass finds Kaufman. Looking for Shook. That pass denied by Dunphy. NC State going to have to get back and defend. Loose puck just inside the blue line, though. As Dunphy lost an edge. South Carolina survives. They've got a chance coming in front. Save made by Lawrence. He'll cover it up. Big stop by the NC State netminder. It very easily could have been a 2-goal lead.
It was 3-on-1. I'm not sure quite what happened there, Chris. South Carolina with a prime opportunity to take a 2-goal lead. But I do want to note this second line for NC State tonight's just been non-existent. Shook, Kaufman, Reese Johnson, they're just not on the same page. And right there, it's just Lapani just got on his own. He takes away 2, but a chance to get across. South Carolina almost making it 4-2.
NC State controls the D-zone draw. Pitchforked out by Alex James. Back at the defense, South Carolina controls. Moved along the wall for Albers. NC State takes it away, though. Braden Strong shoots it in. He'll chase after it on the forecheck. Gets to it first as well in the near corner. Get a look up close as they battle for it along the wall. Held in at the blue line by James. He'll throw it towards the net. Pad save made there by Tamoyan. Now Gifford out in front, and Willoughby Ray knocked down hard along the side of the goal. Good pressure here from the ice pack. Lapani's shot trickles through traffic, and it's kicked out by Tamoyan. Lapani again at the blue line. Fakes. Plays it down for Gifford. Looking across, that puck pinballs through traffic, and South Carolina takes over. They'll gain the red line and send it in. Gifford got tangled up there with a South Carolina player. They're both back up and going. Lapani kicks it back behind his own goal. Seen a couple of guys lose edges now down there. You're starting to wonder a little bit about the ice as it's taken away by South Carolina's Brendan Flaherty, trying to force his way behind the goal. Still has the puck, and he's pestered along the wall by Willoughby Ray, or by Lapani, pardon me. South Carolina continuing to pressure. About 4 minutes gone in this third period. 3-2 lead for South Carolina. Centering pass, slapped back away by Emery Oliver. In the corner, pushed down low by Finelli, taken right back by Strong, and he'll play it out for Gifford to chase down. Jake Gifford's pass intercepted at the red line. Flipped back in by South Carolina. Here comes Flaherty. Shot blocked. NC State still can't clear. Along the wall, Pineda plays it around behind. Settled down by Flaherty in the near corner. He'll leave it there for Nick Kay. Walking it up the wall. Played back down low to Pineda. He'll sweep it along. Below the goal line, pass out in front, loose there. Lapani can't get it out. South Carolina still in possession. Shaking and baking there with it, Flaherty. Walks around a couple of men down to the goal line, out in front, they score. We'll see if they count it. The net came off its moorings. And now Lapani into a shoving match here with a South Carolina player, Nick Kay, who's shaken up after that.
Well, before that sequence there, Chris, we're going to get a penalty here. James is trying to plead his case. Lapani's going to go in the box, and that's just a really bad penalty. I don't know if that puck
I'm not sure I saw the penalty in there.
No, it's after the play on Lapani, Chris. That's what it was. Maybe a little cross-check, but it is matching. They do matching penalties. Someone in there for South Carolina is going to be roughing. But for NC State right now, I was going to say before all that happened, they don't look like a cohesive unit on the defensive end. They just don't seem like they have the terms to break out after the play. Lapani with a hit up high. I'm not sure what happened there. It's number 10, Nick Kay, who was the one that was hurt.
I believe Kay is now the one in the penalty box.
Yeah, I think it might be embellishing maybe. I don't know there, though.
Could be looking at matching roughing penalties as well. Either way, we're going to play some 4-on-4 hockey here. Opens up some space for NC State. This is a team that can always take advantage of extra space. And we've got another penalty coming. Going to be a big-time power play for NC State as Sodden quickly gives it away. NC State, though, will have a 4-on-3 for 1:36.
Well, if NC State needed a handout, this is it right here. As the band does some little YMCA, trying to get something going for the Ice Pack. But this is that prime opportunity. Being able to go on a power play, down in the game right now. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Ice Pack. And I believe that was maybe Riggins going into the box for South Carolina. We'll see what the call is there. But this is just huge for NC State. This power play's been red hot all season. They didn't get it on the first time. Can they get something going this time, though? This is exactly what they need to at least generate some momentum and some energy. That's the most important thing, generating energy on that bench.
Well, and they've got Herman, Prasma, and Shook out there with Thronson. A lot of space to use all that skill. Herman wins the draw to Thronson. He'll set things up. Herman along the wall has it poked loose. South Carolina takes over, and they clear it down the ice. NC State just doesn't seem to quite have everything together. That's a play you've got to make, especially when it's your captain. Now Nick Shook with some space and some speed. Straight into the zone. He has Prasma. Shot coming. Glove save held onto by Tamoyan. And another O-zone draw for the Ice Pack power play.
They just need some energy. And I think that's why that first play off the draw for NC State didn't look good. Right here, flying down the ice for Shook. He's looking to bat one home from Prasma. He isn't quite able to get there, gets tied up.
Puck behind the net off the faceoff, slapped around but not out as Nick Shook, well, thought he was going to hold it at the blue line. We talked about a bouncing puck, and I think you're continuing to see that with some rough ice out here in the third. Chance, though, coming for Herman, the captain, forcing his way in. He'll be dragged down, and this is going to turn into a 5-on-3. South Carolina can't go down to 2 men, so NC State will have an extra attacker out there. And this is where things are going to get confusing, because I'm not sure that the penalty that's being called now can actually start. The time on it cannot start until the 59 seconds is up on the penalty to Nick Kay.
Yeah, it's going to be a trip on Andrew Henderson, the senior from New York, and it's going to be 5-on-3 NC State. This is, if they wanted a chance to tie this game up, this is it right here. Just an even bigger opportunity. If the Ice Pack lose this game, Chris, first thing Tim Healy's going to say is 5-on-3. That's exactly what he's going to say in that locker room.
Special teams.
Special teams. They gave up one on special teams already. Can they answer it back and make it even?
Well, I think they're having to explain the situation here, because I do believe once that first power play or that penalty ends, it is still going to be 5-on-3 for NC State here. Because as I mentioned, that third penalty, since it's already 5-on-3, I don't think that penalty can start. So it's going to be a little bit of confusion here. Well, it's going to stay 4-on-3 actually. But again, that penalty cannot start until the first penalty comes to an end. So it's a really confusing situation here. Battle in front of the net off the draw. South Carolina finds the loose puck. They'll send it all the way down.
NC State's going to have a chance to bring it in. They've got Thronson, Prasma. As he lost an edge, they've got Reese Johnson out there as well as Willoughby Ray. A lot of young guys.
Here comes Johnson. Into the zone, looking for space, finds Willoughby Ray, touches it back across. Over again for Johnson. That pass is tipped away. Willoughby Ray sends it deep. South Carolina shoots it up, but a nice job holding it in there by Thronson. Got a glove to it. Willoughby Ray pickpocketed. Thronson takes his man down. It's going to be interference, but still a chance coming in, and a blocker save made by Lawrence. South Carolina still in control. Now they're going to blow the whistle, and it's interference, but if you're NC State, you gotta control the puck along the wall. And it's hard to tell from where we are. That puck's kind of hidden behind the boards, but it feels like it's just bouncing around a lot. And NC State can't figure it out. It put Thronson in a bad spot. Now he has to take an interference penalty. But they're gonna have to figure out how this works out, because I think NC State should still be on the power play.
We'll see here, Chris. They're going to explain things, but that's a squandered opportunity for NC State on the man advantage. No matter what happens here, that's squandered. We saw App State do it last night with their chances to come back in that game. I mean, if NC State's just giving chance after chance, they're getting it from South Carolina. South Carolina is begging them to tie this game up, and the Iceback cannot capitalize. South Carolina making some big defensive plays on the penalty kill as well. They're also generating a shorthanded opportunity. They're being very aggressive. NC State, a lot of time just with the puck, not knowing what to do. We saw it cost them in third periods earlier this season, specifically with New Hampshire, and a loss in a game that they blew in going into the third period. They just need to find some cohesiveness on this team right now.
Well, they've got the 2 minutes up there for interference on Andrew Thronson now. Waiting to see how exactly this is going to pan out. I'm not entirely sure. This is not a scenario you see often. But the penalty boxes, as they were last night in the third period, very much full.
And I think one thing to know here, too, is the clock. We've got 2 NC State players in the box, 3 South Carolina guys. We've seen issues with the clock. I don't know if they have somewhere to put a third penalty on the team. That might be the case. But I don't know if it's that.
It should, I was going to say, I think it should pop up as the next penalty comes to an end. But it'd be interesting to see. You're going to have a lot of fluidity here, because in 12 seconds, the penalty to Lapani ends. In 36 seconds, the penalty ends for the first penalty, at least for South Carolina, ends.
Well, Nick Kay will come out too with Lapani, because they both took roughings at the end of the play. I'm not sure, though, if they're going to let them come out right away or if they're going to make them come out at a stoppage, although it is not 5-on-5, so I assume they'll be able to come out.
Some of that has to do with whether it's matching or coincidental minors as well, I think. But they're still trying to figure out, and I think right now, what you're seeing down there is the scorers table has written up how they're going to proceed with the penalties, and they're making sure with the officiating crew that that is how they should release players out of the penalty box. Just so everyone knows, that's how confusing this is right now, because they're having to write it out and then double check their math to make sure that everything works out right. But again, there's going to be a ton of space on the ice. As I mentioned, the fluidity of guys coming on and off of the ice with the penalties now. It's going to be really, really confusing, not just for us up here, but for the players down on the ice. And that could lead you to a situation where somebody makes a mistake they wouldn't normally make either.
And that's a no-context hockey moment right there. Just putting something up against the boards, explaining to the refs. But this is a good opportunity for NC State to talk things over, catch their breath, very similar to last night's game, Chris. A lot of similarities. This one obviously a little closer. But we saw App State get a delay. They were able to talk about, all right, how are we going to combat this? How are we going to respond? This is exactly what NC State's more than likely doing right now. They just want to know what's going on, though. But they need energy. They need to generate some energy into this game.
Well, a great crowd, as we've mentioned, on hand for this one, and they have been treated to a great hockey game. Still 13:25 to go in this period, but there were a couple of penalties to Lapani and Kay called with 15:13 left in the period, so we've only played about a minute, or 2 minutes rather, and we've added another 4 penalties.
It's just a mess right now. They're still discussing it. About both captains there, both teams. Both number 8, by the way, Jake Pushkar, as well as Zach Herman. Yeah. Hopefully we get something. Actually, I believe that's Alex James down there for NC State. New alternate captain.
And there's a look at the mess of a scoreboard we have right now with all of the penalties. And you can see there, 12 seconds till Lapani and Kay's penalty expires. Then the second penalty for South Carolina expires in 36 seconds. And then roughly 45 seconds, a little less than that afterwards, we'll see another player, Andrew Henderson, coming out of the penalty box for South Carolina, plus the 2 minutes to Thronson still. So there are all kinds of things to iron out here. And the sequence of when the penalties occurred, whether the penalties, the roughing penalties on Lapani and Kay were matching or were they coincidental, there are all kinds of things that need to be answered before you can determine how, or I guess it should say in order to determine how the players will be released from the penalty box.
Someone's playing devil advocate there with a Clemson beanie on. Not too sure how that's going, but it's explaining time to the benches. First South Carolina's bench, then they'll go to Tim Healy for the ice pack. It looks like a long explanation. I think Isaac Toyer's trying to get an ear in to see what they're talking about over there. Because, again, there's no glass in between the benches. I mean, he's talking right now with the South Carolina player. I believe he's talking to Thomas Loken there on that bench. All right, now it's time to explain it to Tim Healy in the ice pack. And this is like a delay we had in the first period last night, Chris. This time just
this game. This is a test of mental toughness for these two teams. Now they've spent a lot of time in a delay here. NC State has spent a lot of time on the power play. They've had a chance here to kind of brew over how the power play has gone and what they need to change as well. And so there's a lot of time for them to think about these things, and you wonder how that affects these two teams as they come back out.
Yeah, and we're still explaining. We're still in explanation time to the NC State bench. I think we're ready to go. It looks like the face-off will come on NC State's defensive end. I think we've got it all sorted out, Chris.
It should be an NC State zone because the penalty was on Thronson for interference. And it looks like we're playing some 3-on-3 hockey here for the moment. But it won't be very long.
Have you ever seen 3-on-3, Chris?
NC State wins the draw. Weglers wins it out of the zone. Nick Shook will chase after it. Icing waved off as the NC State forward gets to it first. And again, the clock not running like we saw last night. So some extended 3-on-3 time for these two teams. As Nick Shook takes the shot, it deflects up over top, and now we get the stoppage as the clock now gets started. And I'm not sure how they're going to both remedy this. They may have to go back to the NC State end and restart.
And the both fans for both teams are booing now, Chris. I've never seen anything like this. And now they've got to go back to the clock, explain what's going on again. They've got to try to formulate something. It's just a mess this third period. They're going to try another Gamecocks jam. We'll see if NC State can respond, generate some energy for NC State. The penalty box for South Carolina getting in on some action as well with the Gamecock chant.
Well, right now the clock shows 13:21. There's not really a great way for them to decide how much time to run off. Looks like they might run off the penalties to Lapani and Kay.
Still going.
But they shouldn't. I don't think they should run a whole lot more time off. We're at 20-some-odd seconds.
Yep, 13:07.
I think that's probably a decent place to do it. And I would guess they're going to give NC State an offensive zone face-off here.
That's where it was. NC State had possession too, so I'm assuming that's what it will be. Lapani will go back off towards his bench. They're going to bring out Daniel Prasma. And Prasma, the leading goal scorer for NC State as well as points. 18 goals, 10 assists, 28 points in total, but he's got nothing tonight. He's been a little quiet, Chris, the freshman star from Cary.
So NC State now has a power play, 4-on-3 for 18 seconds before Riggins comes out of the penalty box. NC State will win in control. Here's Shook. Dusts it off, takes the shot, loose rebound on the side of the goal. Kaufman working around, tries to center, that pass is denied, and South Carolina can't clear. Along to Shook from Wegler. Shot coming, glove save, and it's held on to by Tamoyan.
That last save from Tamoyan just shows that he's in a groove right now. It's going to be hard to beat him. Just in a groove to slide back over, make a glove save off Nick Shook, who just fires home a lot of fastballs, a lot of the meatball pucks that he sends in. It's going to be very hard to beat Tamoyan in the next 12:50.
Well, 1 second left on the penalty for Riggins. He'll come out of the box now as NC State controls. Prasma looking out in front. Oh, he couldn't quite find the open man there in Kaufman. South Carolina moves back the other way as we play 4-on-4. Blocker save there from Addison Lawrence. Rebound taken off the kick plate by NC State's Weglers. Moving forward, he's got Kaufman with him. Looks to the middle. That pass gets through, but the shot doesn't. And now South Carolina reverses back the other way. No cross as they gain the blue line. Shot coming. Save made there by Lawrence on Bunsukin, and it's stuck behind the goal now. Sodden has it caught up in his skates. Trying to knock it loose. He finds Prasma along for Shook, but we've got a stoppage here, and it looks like the net continuing to give Addison Lawrence some problems down there.
Yeah, and he loves to push off of it too. And I thought the net at Invisalign Arena was always coming off its moorings. It's coming off more here, Chris, but one thing to note, with 12:11 to go, we're at 9:08 right now. We played about 2 hours. Both teams have road games tomorrow. I don't want to look too far ahead, but NC State's got to drive all the way to Fayetteville later tonight. They play Army at Fort Liberty tomorrow. South Carolina's got to go to Knoxville to play Tennessee once again. So it's going to be a very tiring weekend for both squads, but you got to focus on the ice right now. If you're tired tomorrow, so what? You got to win this outdoor classic.
Well, we're still looking at 4-on-4 hockey. At the moment they score, that one snuck past Lawrence on a bad angle, and it's a big goal for the Gamecocks. 3 straight now for South Carolina. It's 4-2.
Well, we saw Brendan Flaherty have an earlier opportunity. The D-man just crashes down, and he just finds one over the glove of Lawrence. Just too slow to get his glove up there. And that might be a massive blow to NC State, down now 4-2. A couple guys with towels to the left of us. A lot of towels for South Carolina now as Sandstorm plays once again. Again, all the energy with South Carolina. It's been the story all night. It continues to be. NC State still on the power play, but the Gamecocks have just been more dominant. They've been the better team tonight.
Well, the Ice Pack have got to find some energy here. They just seem lethargic here in this third period as South Carolina still with the pressure coming off sides. And they'll bring it back out into the neutral zone.
For South Carolina, keep your pedal to the metal here. Keep feeding off the energy. Surprised we're not getting another Gamecock chant in the crowd. But, I mean, NC State just looks lifeless. They've looked lifeless since the first intermission, it seems like. They need energy. They have to play as a team, and just seems like they're not doing that most of the time.
Here's the top line looking to make something happen. Herman's shot deflected wide. Thrown off the side of the goal. It pops up in the air. Loose in the crease. Jammed at there by Gifford. Can't get it to go. Caught up in his skates. He's still trying to get it loose. And eventually South Carolina takes over. Savario Marcella moving up the ice. Stepping up. Frosch at his own blue line slows things down. But South Carolina holds the zone. Herman finds the loose puck off the wall. He'll look for some help in the neutral zone. It's not there. South Carolina takes over. But the Gamecocks just skating circles around NC State right now. They'll walk it back in. Stolen away by Willoughby Ray. A chance in transition if they move quickly. He's got Ricky Frosch with him. Willoughby Ray to the net. Works it around. Sent in front. He can't connect with Frosch, who had an open net to shoot at. Willoughby Ray back in control. He'll spin it over to the wall. On the far side now, Robinson looking to the middle. That pass gets all the way through. Willoughby Ray will take it off the boards. Looking to the middle again. Robinson works it down low. Tries to steer it back out in front. That'll be shot around the wall now for Lapani. He throws one towards goal. Hits a stick. doesn't get to the net, and South Carolina clears.
NC State playing with the uh-oh energy right now. They realize they're down 2 with 10 minutes left. They have to start going down the ice and just shooting as many times as they can with good looks.
Willoughby Ray leaves it for Oliver, who's got speed into the zone, takes the shot. Save made there by Tamoyan. And NC State continuing the pressure. They needed this energy a little bit earlier. We'll see if they can use it now. Save made by Tamoyan. He'll body it down and cover up as the net pops off the line. And a face-off should stay in the NC State end here. And I think here they're saying South Carolina cannot change because of it. They're sending players back to the bench. Here's another look.
Yeah, because the goal came off its moorings. Robinson, a good play to set up this shot, just trying to get a deflection from Oliver. But South Carolina's got to take it away that dirty area. They are really physical there, pushing NC State players out. Only opportunity we've seen NC State get on those dirty area plays has been when they're on the rush, when they're on the break. And overall, though, they just can't get anything set up there. NC State just cannot get the puck in deep, and when they do, South Carolina responds, forces a turnover, or forces NC State to reset at neutral ice.
Face-off one to Prasma. He's under pressure, sweeps it over, and it's knocked off the moorings again as Tamoyan's skate comes over and kicks it off. But again, South Carolina got to keep some tired legs out there. And I don't think the puck would have ended up in the net anyhow.
No.
But if you're NC State, you got to keep generating these chances. Halfway through the third period now. 2 unanswered goals here in the third from South Carolina are the difference. Cleared out by the Gamecocks. Knocked down by Tate Sodden and settled for Prasma, who shoots it deep. And on the forecheck, Finch takes a hit up high, pops right back up. Play continues. No hand up from the officiating crew. This will be icing on South Carolina, though. And the faceoff comes back down, and yet again, the Gamecocks cannot make changes.
Yeah, the senior from West Palm Beach, Zachary List, makes a big crunching blow on Austin Finch. You'll get a look at it once again. Just coming in. Here comes the freight train. And down goes Finch, but maybe a little bit of an elbow there that they missed. It was a high hit as well.
South Carolina wins the draw. It's off the glass and out into neutral ice. Glove down by Sodden. He'll play it off the window and back in. Gamecocks looking to settle down, and you can definitely see as we've gotten into the second half of each period, the ice starts to get choppier, the puck's a little bit harder to control, and that's only going to make it more difficult. It might help NC State in the scenario, but it really, more than anything, is likely to make it more difficult trying to put the puck in the back of the net. They'll force it out along the far wall. Sodden retreats with it to Kaufman. Across for Thronson. He'll push it forward. Reese Johnson stepping into the zone. He's bodied up across the line, but still gets it deep. Kaufman now in on the forecheck. Got some help now from Johnson. Mulcairn in there on the 2v2 scrum for South Carolina. He'll push it along to the far corner, and it'll be pitchforked out by South Carolina. Under 9 to play now. Pass intercepted in the neutral zone. Here come the Gamecocks. They're going to set up in the offensive zone. Played across now for Bonsukin. He'll walk with it. Looking to the high slot. Played along now for Dunphy. Takes the shot through traffic. They score. Lawrence never saw it. And it's now 4 unanswered goals for South Carolina. 3 this period. 5-2 is the lead.
Well, it all starts with the interception at the top of the zone. We might see a couple of those across the street at Bank of America Stadium tomorrow, but it's just a snipe up top. Lawrence never sees it. Second time the Gamecocks have been able to generate traffic in front. 5-2. It's looking very bleak for NC State. It's a USC party here at Truist Field with Sandstorm going again.
Well, there's just been no offense from NC State since the first period. And it's starting, the game it's feeling the most like from this season is the game against North Carolina. NC State dominated the first period, an even bigger lead than 2-1 like they had here tonight. They had a late goal at the buzzer from Reese Johnson, and it felt like that goal almost deflated them more than it energized them. And it feels similar tonight, the way that Alex James scored late in the period to give them the momentum, and they were never able to harness it.
Well, the last time these two teams played this series, South Carolina outscored NC State 2-0 in the third. Make that now 5-0 overall this series. South Carolina wants it more tonight. They want it more in the third period overall, and it shows on the scoreboard.
Well, you do have to remember there is a lot of firepower in that NC State bench, and while they have not played a good hockey game, they still have the ability to score a couple quick ones and get right back into it.
But that fifth goal, Chris, might be just deflating. It might be crushing. The leadership has to step up for NC State to say there's still time left in this game.
Braden Strong bringing it in. He's bodied up just inside the blue line. It'll be shoveled around the wall now by Von Sukin. This is carried out by South Carolina. Dunphy has some speed, looking to the middle. That pass doesn't connect. NC State moves it back out. Here comes Gifford. High slot, has some space. A big save made there by Tamoyan. Didn't necessarily see it. South Carolina doesn't know where it is. It's out of play.
They thought Tamoyan had
it. He's still looking for it in his pads. I watched it go out.
It's out of play, yeah. He doesn't know. He's jumping up and down. He's like, I don't know where it is. That's the one time as a goalie, you don't know where the puck is, but it plays to your benefit. Gifford coming across, just going to try to snipe one home with some traffic. It's a good little screen there by Oliver. It just tips up. I can't really see it
from there. Might be the best chance NC State
He's
has
playing
had.
like the puck's in front. He doesn't know where it is.
That might have been the best chance for NC State here this period. They get an offensive zone draw here. Oliver unable to win it. Swept around behind the net by Tommy Marvin. Collected by Pineda. Back around to Marvin. Under 7 to go now. NC State really pressed for time if they want to make this thing a hockey game again. South Carolina back on the attack. Big save coming across by Addison Lawrence on the 2-on-1. Oh, and despite the fact that he's given up 5 goals on 19 shots, Lawrence really hasn't given up any soft ones.
The shot selection for South Carolina has been immaculate. Great shots, and they're getting a lot of space, a lot of traffic. And I think the story of this game, Chris, was 6.5 left. NC State down 3, special teams. You know, they gave up a power play goal. They had so many chances, had a potential 5-on-3, and they could just not find the back of the net on any of their power plays tonight. That's a big miss on special teams for the Ice Pack, who pride themselves on the success they have on both sides of the special teams area.
Yeah, it's not often a battle that they lose, and they are currently losing it tonight. 6 minutes left, 5-2 lead for South Carolina. They've got goals from Carson Scove as well as a couple of others from Brendan Flaherty as well as Aiden Dunphy. Back end has been very productive.
Number 2, number 3, sophomore and junior, 2 D pairs getting it done for South Carolina. Flaherty almost had a goal earlier just walking in on Lawrence after he beat Shook, but he gets one later on.
Here's Kaufman out in front, active stick there from Tamoyan, knocks it away, and South Carolina clears it out of danger. Lawrence going to have to come out to play this, pokes it away, speeding in there. I believe that was Thomas Loken with a chance, as he'll turn it back towards the goal. Knocked away again by Addison Lawrence. 5:15 to go, weaving through traffic. Sawden looks to the far side. He's got Finch, and Prasma slips in offsides.
Finch not happy there, might have gotten away with a little whack. Gives another one. Oh, now we got...
We're going to get a couple of penalties here. Prasma's going to be one of them. There was already a penalty coming up, I believe, matching penalties. But that's just...
I don't think
NC State's lost their head here.
Yep. And that's exactly what it is, and they did it last time, and Prasma just punched the glass behind the bench. They can definitely lose their head a couple times. We'll get a good look here. It's going to be a slash, I think, on Finch. And then after the play, he butted Finch in the back, and then just extracurriculars try to take control. But they didn't put Finch in. They issued like it was a slashing call. But now just
the slash, I believe, was on South Carolina. The initial penalty was to Savario Marcella.
And that's another squandered power play then for NC State. That's exactly what it is.
So 2 penalties on that sequence. NC State was going to have a power play. And there's going to be a conversation in the locker room after this one. It's been a problem continually this season for NC State, and it is again here tonight where discipline is costing them. Here's a chance in front, and Addison Lawrence able to get in the way. Some help there from Nick Shook as well, as we've got a heavy collision in front of the net. Lawrence a little bit slow getting up here.
Yeah, I think he got the wind knocked out of him there. He needs a breather. He looks all right. He gets to his feet. So does the Gamecock player, but just the other way. Again, look at the numbers South Carolina has. They have 3 guys coming down versus 2 for NC State, and right in front, they're just not defending it well. Shook can't get there, and it looked like it was just a football play. And now we've got a player gone. Weglars is gone. I missed it there. Weglars has just been ejected.
All right, this is a game that head coach Tim Healy's not going to be happy with his team.
We heard him
This
get
is
very
not the
mad
way that
once.
NC State plays.
No, this is a bad showing from NC State tonight. They just sent a Gamecock player. No, thought they were going to send off for a second there Ben Riccitelli, but they don't. He's making sure it's closed. But Weglar's with a game misconduct, and it's going to be still 4-on-4.
To be 4-on-3 here. It's probably
right.
a 10-2 on Weglar's. And so South Carolina, on top of a 3-goal lead, now have 2 minutes of power play time, 1 minute and 36 of which is going to be 4-on-3.
And again, Chris, the stat sheet looks just like last night in the third period. Just tons of events this time. We have 3 goals in there, but the penalties, and a lot of them against NC State. Tim Healy's not going to be happy after this game.
South Carolina sets up the 4-on-3 man advantage. 90 seconds left on that. Then it'll be about 14 seconds.
And if you're South Carolina, you just kill time here. NC State's down 3. They're on the penalty kill. You just kill time, look for a great shot opportunity.
That's exactly what they're doing. Not being overly aggressive. Not quite as much puck movement.
No.
Not necessary.
They got to keep possession. That's the big thing right now. Just kill off the next about minute 5 before you really have that power play. You got 1:27 left. Just keep possession. Make it even harder for NC State.
They'll work with it up at the blue line again. NC State starting to get a little more aggressive. If they want to try and get back into this, they got to generate something. Wrap chance, they score.
Yeah.
Lawrence overcommits on the post, and it's stuffed home for another power play goal. Brendan Flaherty finishes this one.
This is the dagger from Brandon Flaherty, the junior from Orangeburg. Nets home his second. It was going to be a goal no matter what, even if the net went off. Just goes in deep again. Lawrence wasn't prepared for the wraparound that time. It went in before the net came off. What a showing from the Gamecocks tonight. I mean, they are just going crazy. This is a completely different South Carolina team, Chris, than what we saw back in September. They're playing just lights out. In this third period, they've shown that they've been the much better team tonight than NC State.
Puck trickles right in on Lawrence. He'll cover it up immediately. And 3:51 to go in the game. It is now a 6-2 lead for South Carolina. I tell you, I don't think anybody would have thought going into the third period that South Carolina would put up 4 unanswered.
No, they won it 6-2 now.
3:51 left. NC State controls. We're back to 4-on-4 hockey after the power play goal. That will be for another 30 seconds. Loose puck taken by South Carolina in their own end. D-to-D pass finds Zach List. He'll advance it forward. First one to it is Finelli to negate the icing call. NC State will knock it loose and take over. 3:25 to go. Here comes Gifford. Cuts to the middle. He'll be tied up. Puck still loose, skittering in. It looks like NC State is going to get a power play now as a hooking penalty called with 3:16 to go on the Gamecocks.
I think it's going to be a little too late to here for NC State. Homer's giving Mr. Wolf a little pedicure down there just outside the ice, but it's going to be a hooking call against South Carolina. It looks to be...
It's going to be Garrett Albers, it looks like.
Well, NC State, they've got a chance here, but it might be too little too late.
9 penalties this period combined between the two teams. Interestingly enough, by my count, real quickly looking over the game sheet, 5 penalties for South Carolina, 4 for NC State.
But NC State's have been costlier, Chris.
Yep.
That's what it is. And now I think Willoughby Ray is going to go in the box. And now it's back even at 5, a cross check on Brooks.
And this should turn into, I believe, well, not quite yet, will turn into a power play for South Carolina.
Again, just another penalty for NC State. This is something I had a problem with before that October swing of home games, was penalties, penalties, penalties. They lost because of penalties. Last time these two teams played, NC State took 11 penalties, South Carolina 2. Tonight, NC State's just filling up the penalty column again. It looks like this team's back into early October when they had just that big skid at home, and they took a lot of penalties, which is the reason why they lost a lot of those games.
Pass across, hits a glove, still gets to Zach Herman. He'll feed it through, looking for Finch, who has trouble corralling it. South Carolina takes over. Here's Flaherty. Couple of goals tonight for the defenseman. Both of them coming here in the third. Lawrence might have got a piece of that shot and knocks it into the glass. NC State back the other way with it. Herman looking, plays it behind Finch, and Flaherty first to it. Knocked off the puck by Finch, but there to collect is Marcella. And South Carolina moves it up and out. And the net again coming off its moorings. Lawrence, I think he's getting frustrated with that. He needs that to be able to push off of, and he hasn't had that tonight.
I think he's getting frustrated too with just the amount of opportunity South Carolina is getting coming down the ice. You know, there's 6 by him. There's no putting that past that. A couple of them though, you got to play him on the defense, just letting those opportunities strike. But this is going to be the second time now NC State has lost in Charlotte this year. They got blown out in the Dukes Mayo Classic and football against Tennessee. They're getting blown out here in the third period now in the battle at the ballpark against South Carolina.
Just over 2 minutes left here in the third period. South Carolina trailed 2-1 after the first period. They've outscored NC State 5-0 since then, including 4-0 here in the third. Big hit by Finch along the wall to jar the puck loose. South Carolina shoots it back deep. James behind the goal.
Finch wasn't happy there with that hit there. That was made by Andrew Henderson, getting whacked at him after the play. He's frustrated.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's frustration from NC State. Backhand try for Herman, glove down by Tamoyan, who can't corral the rebound. South Carolina still controls it though. Josh Wilkins with speed through neutral ice. He'll be disrupted at the blue line, still finds his way into the zone. Leaves it in that near corner for Henderson. He's pinned to the wall there. NC State able to take it out of the wall battle, and it's Sodden moving forward. He'll fire away. Glove save from Tamoyan, and another face-off coming up in the South Carolina zone.
Well, I think it's safe to say you can start the celebration if you're a Gamecock fan. Now up by 4 with just about 81 seconds to go. The Gamecocks are going to get revenge. It's been a weekend of revenge. We saw Charlotte get revenge against App State last night from the Outdoor Classic loss in 2023, and now South Carolina gets revenge from the early season loss earlier this season. These two teams are going to see each other a lot in the next couple seasons, both going to D1, ACHA, ACCHL, and I think we've got a pretty good rivalry starting to brew between these two clubs.
Absolutely. This will go a long ways, too, for South Carolina. We talked about they're still straddling a couple of divisions as they've got some, they still play in the AAU as well as some ACHA games. This, in fact, goes down as just their 4th ACHA game this season, and they will move to 2-2, but they are 13th in the region, in the Southeast region. NC State 7th coming into tonight. Those rankings will be updated in a little while. It won't, of course, be an instant update, but this is going to be a tough one for NC State to swallow because it just has not been a good game. Even the first period, NC State did have the lead. It was their best period, but it still didn't feel like a good period for the Ice Pack.
It was just a good old butt whooping tonight from South Carolina. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. They dominated this game. They were the better team. They were down 2-1 off of 2 mistakes that they had. Otherwise, though, the amount of ozone time they had that they generated, the great defense that they had, just capitalizing on NC State mistakes. They're down 8 in the shot category. They only have 21 shots to 29 from NC State, but I guarantee you almost all 21 of those shots are much higher percentage shots than any of NC State's 29 tonight.
Lawrence gloves it down. He's just going to play it out himself to keep the clock rolling. 20 seconds left in this one. And for the most part, it's just South Carolina fans left here at Truist Field. Most of the NC State Red has made their way out as the result of this game was apparent, a good 10 minutes of play ago. Last 3 seconds going to wind off. It was a dominant third period from South Carolina, and they will take a 6-2 win over NC State.
And just a phenomenal game from South Carolina. Able to bounce back after a tough loss last night. They were up 4-3 in the third, blew it to Tennessee, lost 5-4 in regulation. But tonight, revenge and payback. They are able to get the win, and it's going to be a tough bus ride tonight to Fayetteville for NC State. They play Army tomorrow, who is currently playing UNC over in Chapel Hill right now. South Carolina's going to go to Knoxville to play Tennessee tomorrow night.
Well, that will certainly be an interesting one. NC State, as you mentioned, the trip to Fayetteville to take on Army, who still hasn't dropped the puck quite yet. It'll be another hour in Hillsborough before they drop the puck against North Carolina. But here tonight, Nick, NC State going to have to just flush this one away before they play again tomorrow.
Yeah, they do. Bus legs could be a problem tomorrow, but they really just have to get a quick turnaround, and they're going to need some energy tomorrow, Chris. It's going to be an early puck drop. It's going to be a late night tonight, and they're going to be very, very mad about their performance tonight.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how NC State bounces back. A little bit of an early puck drop tomorrow afternoon in Fort Liberty. That'll do it for us here tonight at Truist Field. South Carolina with a dominant third. They win this one 6-2 over NC State.